Come in. Please, come in out of the rain. I've been waiting for you. Close the door behind you. There. Can you hear how the sound changes when you shut out the storm? That's it. You're safe now. You're here. I know you're exhausted. I can see it in your eyes before you even say a word. That kind of tired that goes deeper than your bones. The kind that makes even simple things feel impossible. You don't have to explain it to me. I already know. I've watched you pushing through, day after day, trying to be strong for everyone else. Trying to keep it all together when you feel like you're falling apart inside. Look around. These stone walls have been here a long time. They're thick, solid, built to keep out the cold and the storms. And tonight, they're keeping out everything you've been carrying, everything that's been weighing on you. For the next little while, those burdens stay outside. In here, there's just you and me, this fire, and all the time in the world. Go ahead, take off. Your coat, it's soaked through, isn't it? Here, let me hang it by the fire. It'll dry. Everything will dry. Everything will warm up eventually. Even you. Even that cold, exhausted place deep in your chest that hasn't felt warm in so long, you've almost forgotten what it feels like. Come, sit here. This chair by the fireplace. I've made it comfortable for you. There's a blanket here, see? Soft wool. Heavy enough to feel like it's holding you together. Go on, wrap it around yourself. That's it. Now you can just sink into it. Let the chair hold your weight. You've been holding up the world. Let something hold you for a change. Can you hear the rain? It's steady tonight. Not a violent storm, just a persistent, gentle rain. The kind that soaks deep into the earth. The kind that farmers pray for because it doesn't just wet the surface. It penetrates. It reaches the roots. That's what this time is for, you know. Not just surface rest. Not just a quick nap before you have to get up and run again. Deep rest. The kind that reaches your roots. Look at this fire. I've been tending it, keeping it just right. Not too hot, not dying down. Just a steady, warm glow. See how the flames move? There's something hypnotic about fire, isn't there? The way it dances. The way it creates these shadows on the stone walls. Light and dark, moving together. Nothing stays the same for even a second. And yet, it's all somehow peaceful. Constant change within constant presence. These stones around. The fireplace are warm now. If you put your hand on them, feel that? They've been absorbing heat for hours. They give it back slowly. That's wisdom, you know. Some things can't be rushed. Heat takes time to sink in. Rest takes time to penetrate. Healing takes time to reach the deep places. I want you to know something before we go any further. You don't have to perform here. You don't have to be anything other than exactly what you are right now. Exhausted, depleted, running on empty. Maybe even a little bit hopeless if we're being completely honest. That's okay. I'm not shocked by your humanity. I'm not disappointed that you're tired. You know what I see when I look at you? I see someone who's been incredibly brave. You think exhaustion is weakness, but I see it differently. I see someone who's given everything they had to give, and then somehow found a little bit more, and then gave that too. I see someone who's loved hard, worked hard, tried hard, and now you're here because you literally cannot do it anymore. That's not failure. That's honesty. Listen to the rain on the windows, each drop making its little sound against the glass. Thousands of them, millions of them, all joining together into this soft, constant rhythm. Like a lullaby, like the sound of grace falling on a weary world. You don't have to do anything about this rain. You don't have to manage it or control it or make it stop. You just get to be here, inside, where it's warm and dry, listening to it do what it does. Can I tell you what I'm not going to do tonight? I'm not going to give you a to-do list. I'm not going to tell you 7 steps to overcome your exhaustion. I'm not going to ask you to try harder or do better or find the strength you don't have. That's not what this is. This isn't a productivity seminar. This is a sanctuary. You've had enough voices telling you what you should be doing, how you should be coping. Why aren't you stronger by now? Why does everything feel so hard? What's Wrong with you that you can't just push through like everyone else seems to. Those voices can stay outside in the rain. In here, there's just my voice. And I'm telling you, it's okay to be exactly this tired. The fire is popping softly, little sparks flying up the chimney, each one like a tiny prayer rising. Your prayers lately have probably felt like that, haven't they? Small, fragmentary, barely formed before they disappear. Help, please. I can't. That's okay. I understand the language of exhaustion. I'm fluent in the prayers of the depleted. You don't need eloquent words. You just need to be here. Look at how the firelight reflects off these stone walls. This cottage has stood here through countless storms. Rain, wind, snow, heat, season after season. And it's still standing, still solid, still offering shelter. You know why? Because it was built on rock, built to last, built to protect. And tonight, it's protecting you. I chose this place for you specifically. I could have met you anywhere. A mountaintop, a sunny meadow, a crystal clear lake. But no, tonight you needed stones and fire and the sound of rain. You needed thick walls and a heavy door and the kind of shelter that doesn't just keep out the weather, it keeps out the world. So here we are. Are you warm enough? The blanket helping? Good. You know, there's something about physical warmth that helps with the other kinds of cold. The cold loneliness, the cold fear, the cold exhaustion. Your body being warm doesn't fix those things, but it helps. It reminds you that comfort is possible, that there are still good things, simple things, warm things. I want to talk to you about something, about this exhaustion you're feeling. Not to fix it right now, but just to acknowledge it, to name it. Because I think you've been trying to pretend it isn't as bad as it is. You've been minimizing it. Other people have it worse. I should be grateful. I just need to push through. But what if you stopped doing that for a minute? What if you just admitted how tired you really are? You're not just tired from today. You're tired from last week, last month, last year, maybe longer. You're carrying accumulated exhaustion, compound fatigue, like interest on a debt you never meant to take on. Every day you push through without real rest, you add to it. And now you're here, and the bill has come due. And you're looking at it thinking, I don't have enough to pay this. I don't have the resources. I'm bankrupt. That's why you're here. Because you finally realized you can't do this anymore. And that realization, that wasn't defeat. That was wisdom. That was your soul finally getting your attention. That was me, actually, calling you in out of the rain, saying, enough, come here, rest. The wind is picking up outside. You can hear it in the eaves of the cottage. A low whistle. But in here, we're protected. The fire flickers slightly when the wind blows, but it doesn't go out. It's tended, it's watched, it's safe. Just like you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about everything waiting for you when you leave here. All the responsibilities, all the people depending on you, all the things that won't get done if you're resting, all the ways you might let people down. That weight is trying to follow you in here, isn't it? Trying to squeeze through the cracks around the door. But here's what I want you to understand. Those things will still be there. I'm not pretending they won't. But right now, in this moment, they are not your concern. Right now, your only job is to be here, to breathe, to let yourself be held by this chair, this blanket, this warmth, to let me tend the fire while you do absolutely nothing. Do you know how rare that is? When was the last time you did absolutely nothing? When was the last time you let yourself be completely unproductive? When was the last time you didn't feel guilty for resting? I'm guessing it's been a while. Maybe it's never happened. Maybe you've been running on empty for so long that you don't even remember what full feels like. Look into the fire with me for a minute. See that log there, the one that's mostly burned through? It's still giving heat, but it's almost done. Almost ash. That's what happens when something burns and burns without being replaced. Eventually, no matter how good the wood was, it turns to ash. You've been burning for a long time, giving light and heat to everyone around you. And you're getting close to ash. But see what I'm doing? I'm adding another log, fresh wood, and I'm not asking the old log to keep burning. I'm letting it rest, letting it become what it becomes, and the new wood will take over. That's how it works. Things get replenished. Fresh fuel gets added. The fire continues, but not because any single log burns forever, because it gets tended. You need to be tended. Not pushed, not managed, not optimized. Tended, like a fire, like a garden, like something precious that requires gentle attention and patience and wisdom to know when to add fuel and when to just let it be. The rain continues, soft, steady, relentless in its gentleness. It's not trying to accomplish anything. It's just being rain, falling, soaking in, doing what rain does. And the earth receives it. The earth doesn't resist it or analyze it or wonder if it deserves it. The earth just opens up and lets the rain sink in. That's what I'm asking you to do. Open up. Let this rest sink in. Don't resist it. Don't analyze it. Don't wonder if you deserve it. Just receive it. I know you're used to earning things. You've been taught that rest is something you have to deserve, that you have to work hard enough, be productive enough, be good enough to earn the right to stop. But that's not how it works with me. Rest isn't a reward for good behavior. Rest is a gift. Rest is grace. Rest is something I give you because you need it, not because you've earned it. You couldn't earn this if you tried. You can't be good enough to deserve rest. You can only be tired enough to need it. And you are. You're tired enough, more than tired enough. So here we are. Can you feel the weight of the blanket on your shoulders? It's holding you, isn't it? Not restraining you, holding you. There's a difference. Some things hold us down, pin us, trap us, but some things hold us together, keep us from falling apart. This blanket is like that, like arms around you, like being contained in the best possible way, like being kept safe. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm keeping you safe. From the storm outside, yes, but also from the storm inside, the one that tells you you're not doing enough, the one that says you're failing, the one that whispers you're weak and pathetic and everyone else manages just fine. That storm isn't allowed in here either. In here, there's only truth. And the truth is this: you are deeply loved, completely known, and desperately in need of rest. All three of those things. Not just the first two, the third one too. And that third one doesn't cancel out the first two. It's actually part of them. I love you enough to see your need. I know you well enough to understand your exhaustion. And I'm here because I'm not going to let you burn down to ash. The fire is settling into a nice, even burn now. The kind that will last. Not flashy, not dramatic. Just steady, reliable warmth. That's what we're aiming for with you too. Not some dramatic intervention, where suddenly you're fine and everything's fixed. Just steady restoration, reliable healing. The kind that lasts because it goes deep. Outside, in the darkness beyond these walls, the world keeps turning. People keep doing their things. Problems keep existing. But in here, we've stopped the clock. We've created a pocket outside of time, a sanctuary outside of the demands. And you get to stay here as long as you need to. I'm not going anywhere. This fire isn't going out. This rain will keep falling, soft and steady. These walls will keep standing. And you can finally let yourself stop. Stop performing. Stop pushing. Stop pretending you're fine when you're not. Stop being strong when you're weak. Stop holding it together when you're falling apart. It's okay to fall apart here. These stones have seen it before. They won't judge you. I won't judge you. There's no score being kept. No performance review. No evaluation of your worthiness. You're here because you're mine, and I take care of what's mine. Look at the embers glowing at the base of the fire. Deep orange, almost red. hot at the core even though they're not flaming. That's rest. That's renewal. It happens in the depths, where you can't see it, where it doesn't look productive or impressive, but it's real, it's powerful, it's necessary. You've been all flame for too long, all visible productivity, all outward show of being fine, and underneath, you've been burning through your reserves. But here, you get to be embers for a while. Still warm, still alive, but not performing, not producing, just being, just glowing quietly in the dark. Can you let yourself do that? Can you let yourself just be here? Just glow quietly, just exist without producing anything, without being useful to anyone, without justifying your existence by what you accomplish. Can you just be? I think you can. I think that's why you're here, because something in you, some deep and true part of you, knew you needed this, knew you couldn't keep going, knew you needed to find a place where you could stop, and you found it. You're here, with me, in the cottage, by the fire, out of the rain. And I want you to know, this isn't a break before you go back to burning yourself out. This isn't a pit stop before the race continues. This is me saying, we need to change how you've been living. We need to find a different way. Because this exhaustion, this isn't what I want for you. But we don't have to figure all that out tonight. Tonight is just about being here, being warm, being safe, being held by this chair and this blanket and this moment. Tonight is just about letting yourself acknowledge how tired you are, how much you've been carrying, how long you've been running on empty. The fire pops again, a small shower of sparks, each one bright for just a moment before it fades. Like all the moments of your life, some bright, some dim, but all of them part of the whole, all of them seen by me, all of them mattering. You matter. Not because of what you do, not because of who depends on you, not because of what you accomplish or how strong you are or how well you hold it together. You matter because you're you, because I made you, because I love you, because you're mine. And right now, what you need is rest. Deep, penetrating, restoring rest. The kind that doesn't come from an 8-hour sleep or a day off or even a vacation. The kind that comes from finally letting yourself be held, be known, be loved exactly as you are, exhaustion and all. So settle in, let the rain fall, let the fire burn, let the stones hold the warmth, and let me hold you. Not fix you, not change you, not improve you, just hold you, the way you are, right now, in all your exhaustion, in all your depletion, in all your beautiful, brave, broken down humanity. You're here, you made it, you're in the cottage, out of the rain, and I'm with you. That's enough for now. That's everything for now. Just be here, just rest, just let yourself be held. The night is long. We have time, all the time you need. So breathe. Listen to the rain, feel the warmth, and know that you are safe. You are seen, you are loved, and you are allowed to be this tired. Welcome home. There's something I want you to notice. The way the firelight catches on these stone walls. Each stone is different, you know. Different colours, different textures. Some smooth from centuries of touch. Some rough and jagged, just as they were when they were pulled from the earth. But together they make these walls. Together they create this shelter. No single stone could protect you from the storm, but all of them together. That's strength. That's safety. You're like that too. All these different parts of you. The strong parts and the broken parts. The smooth parts, worn down by time, and the rough edges that haven't been softened yet. You think you need to be all one thing. All strong. All together. All fine. But that's not how it works. It's the combination that makes you who you are. And who you are is enough. Even now. Especially now. I can see your shoulders starting to drop just slightly. That tightness you've been carrying. It's beginning to release, isn't it? Not all at once, not dramatically, just a small softening. That's how healing begins. Not with some great moment of breakthrough, but with the smallest release. One tight muscle relaxing, one held breath finally exhaling, one clenched fist slowly opening. You don't have to force it. You don't have to try to relax. The warmth will do its work. The safety will do its work. Time will do its work. You just have to allow it. Just have to not fight it. Just have to be here and let what happens happen. Do you smell the wood smoke? It's a good smell, isn't it? Earthy, ancient. The smell of human comfort going back thousands of years. Your ancestors sat by fires like this, felt warmth like this, found safety like this. There's something in your bones that recognizes this, that knows this, that has been longing for this even if your mind didn't realize it. We're wired for this, for fire and shelter and rest. We're not wired for the endless pushing, the constant productivity, the always on, always available, always performing life you've been living. That's new. Historically speaking, that's very new. But this is ancient. This is how humans have restored themselves since the beginning. Fire, warmth, shelter, presence, stories, rest. And I was there for all of it. Every fire ever lit. Every person who ever sought shelter from a storm. Every exhausted soul who ever sat in the darkness and wondered if they could keep going. I've seen it all. I've been with them all. And I'm with you now. The rain has settled into a rhythm now. Not varying, not changing. Just this steady, patient falling. Like a heartbeat. Like breathing. Like the rhythm of grace that never stops, never varies, never gives up on you. Even when you give up, on yourself. Even when you think you can't go on. The rain keeps falling. Grace keeps coming. I keep loving you. You know what's happening right now while you're sitting here. Your body is beginning to believe that it might actually be safe. It's a small thing. Your nervous system is so used to being on high alert, always scanning for the next crisis, always ready to react, always in fight or flight mode. But here, with the fire and the rain and the stones and me, there's nothing to fight, nothing to flee from. Just this moment, just this warmth, just this presence. Your body is so wise, wiser than your mind sometimes. Your mind can lie to you, tell you you're fine when you're not. But your body knows the truth. It knows how exhausted you are, how depleted, how desperately you need this rest. That's why your shoulders are dropping, why your breathing is slowing, why you might even feel tears starting to form. Your body is telling the truth your mind has been trying to deny. It's okay to cry here. These stones have absorbed countless tears. They don't mind. I don't mind. Sometimes tears are the only honest thing left when words have failed. Sometimes tears are the pressure release valve that keeps us from exploding. Sometimes tears are just sadness finding its way out, or exhaustion, or relief, or all three at once. I'm watching the fire, and I'm thinking about all the times I sat around fires with my disciples, after long days of ministry, after difficult conversations, after miracles that drained me. We'd sit just like this, and we wouldn't always talk. Sometimes we'd just be, just exist together in the firelight, just let the day settle, just let our bodies catch up with our souls. They didn't always understand that I needed that. They thought I was invincible. They thought being the Son of God meant I didn't get tired, but I was also the Son of Man, fully human, and humans need rest. Humans need fire and food and sleep and silence. Humans need to not be everything to everyone all the time. I knew that then. I know it now. I know it about you. You've been trying to be everything to everyone. I can see it. The weight of it. All those people depending on you. All those expectations. All those responsibilities. And somewhere along the way, You started thinking that your worth was tied to how well you could carry it all. That love meant never saying no. That faithfulness meant never stopping. That strength meant never admitting you were tired. But that's not truth. That's just exhaustion lying to you. Truth is this: you are a human being, not a human doing. You have limits, and those limits are not flaws. They're features. They're reminders that you're not God, that you need God, that you were never meant to carry the world on your shoulders because there's already someone doing that. And it's not you. Can you feel the warmth on your face from the fire? It's gentle, isn't it? Not scorching, not overwhelming, just a soft, steady warmth. That's what my love feels like. Not demanding, not consuming, just a steady warmth that's always there, always constant, always enough. I want to tell you something about this exhaustion you're feeling. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. It's your soul's way of getting your attention, of saying, something has to change. This pace isn't sustainable. This way of living is killing us. It's not an enemy. It's a messenger. And the message is, you need me. You need rest. You need to remember that you're human. That's not a bad message. It's not a shameful message. It's a true message. And truth, even when it's hard, is always better than the lies we tell ourselves to keep going. The lie that we're fine. The lie that we can handle it. The lie that rest is for the weak. Those lies will destroy you eventually. But the truth will set you free. Right now, the truth is setting you free to just sit here, to just be tired, to just acknowledge that you've been running on empty and you can't do it anymore. And that admission, that's not weakness. That's the beginning of wisdom. That's the first step toward healing. That's you finally being honest about what is, instead of pretending about what should be. The cottage is so solid around us. These walls have stood through so much. Storms, winds, years, centuries perhaps. They've sheltered shepherds and travellers and families and people just like you who came in out of the rain and found safety. And they'll stand long after tonight, long after you leave here, always ready to shelter the next weary soul who needs sanctuary. But right now, they're sheltering you. Right now, you're the one who gets to be held by these ancient stones. You're the one who gets to feel this warmth. You're the one who gets to hear this rain. You're the one I'm sitting with. You're the one I'm tending. You're the one who matters in this moment. Not because of what you do, not because of what you produce, not because of who you take care of or what you accomplish. Just because you're you. Just because you're here. Just because you're mine. And that's enough. It's always been enough. It will always be enough. The fire is perfect now. It will burn for hours without needing to be tended. It's stable, sustainable, the kind of burn that gives warmth without consuming itself too quickly. That's what I'm teaching you here. How to burn in a way that's sustainable. How to give warmth to others without consuming yourself. How to be fueled by me instead of by your own diminishing reserves. You've been burning yourself as fuel, using your own substance to create light and warmth for others. And now you're almost ash. But I'm showing you a different way. A way where you're fueled by something outside yourself. Where the wood comes from my forest. Where the fire is tended by my hands. Where you can give warmth because you're receiving warmth. Where you can offer light because you're standing in the light. It's a different way of being, a more sustainable way, a more restful way, but it requires you to admit that you can't do it on your own, that you need me, that you need rest, that you need to be tended instead of always being the tender. And that's hard for you, isn't it? Admitting that. But here in the cottage, it's safe to admit it. It's safe to need. It's safe to be depleted. It's safe to say, I can't do this anymore. Because when you say that to me, I don't turn away. I don't shame you. I don't tell you to try harder. I say, I know. I've been waiting for you to realize it. Now come, sit, rest. Let me show you another way. The rain continues its patient work outside, soaking in, penetrating deep, reaching the roots. That's what's happening to you right now. This rest is soaking in. This safety is penetrating deep. This love is reaching your roots, the places that have been dry for so long, the places that have been crying out for water while you've been giving all your water away to everyone else. You can't pour from an empty cup. You've heard that before. But you've been trying anyway, haven't you? Tipping the cup and willing something to come out. Surprised and dismayed when there's nothing there. Feeling guilty about it. Feeling like you should have more to give. But the answer isn't trying harder to pour from an empty cup. The answer is letting the cup be filled. And that's what this is. This time, this space, this cottage, this fire, this presence. This is your cup being filled. Not quickly, not all at once. Just drop by drop, like the rain. Patient, persistent, gentle, thorough. The kind of filling that lasts because it takes its time. So stay, sit, rest. Let the blanket hold you. Let the fire warm you. Let the rain fall. Let the stones shelter you. Let me love you. Not for what you do, just for who you are. My beloved, my exhausted, depleted, beautiful, brave beloved. You're home now. You're safe now. You're allowed to stop now. And I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm watching the fire, listening to the rain, holding this space, keeping you safe, and I'll be here as long as you need. Tonight, tomorrow, always. Because that's what I do. I tend my sheep. I shelter my beloved. I restore weary souls. And you, dear one, you are my beloved, and your soul is so, so weary, and I am here to restore you. Welcome home. You know, I want to tell you something that might surprise you, something I don't think people talk about enough. I got tired too, really, truly exhausted. Not just physically, though that was part of it, but that deep, soul-level weariness that you're feeling right now. I know it. I've lived it. I see that look in your eyes. Like maybe you think I'm just saying that to make you feel better. Like maybe being the son of God meant I didn't really experience exhaustion the way you do. But no, I was fully human as you are. Every limitation you have, I had. Every need you feel, I felt. Including the desperate need to get away from everyone and everything and just stop. Let me tell you about a particular time, a season, really. It started after I fed the 5,000. You've probably heard that story, the multiplying of the loaves and fish. People love that miracle, and it was beautiful, don't get me wrong. Seeing all those people fed, seeing their wonder, seeing their hunger satisfied. But what people don't often think about is what came after. The crowd didn't want to leave. Of course, they didn't. They'd just seen an impossible thing. They'd just eaten bread that appeared out of nowhere. And they were energized by it, excited, wanting more. They wanted to make me king right there. Can you imagine? Thousands of people, all worked up, all trying to grab me, all shouting ideas about what I should do next, where I should go, how I should use this power. And I was exhausted, absolutely depleted. That miracle, it took something out of me. They don't tell you that in the Sunday school versions, but it's true. Every healing, every miracle, I felt it. Power going out from me, life flowing from me to others. And this time it was thousands of people, thousands of hungry mouths, thousands of needs, all drawing from me. Plus, I'd been teaching all day. Do you know how exhausting it is to teach? To try to explain deep truths to people who are only half listening. To watch their eyes glaze over, to see them miss the point, to know that most of what you're saying is falling on hard ground. I loved them. I love them still. But it was exhausting. And before that feeding of the 5,000, I'd just gotten news that John the Baptist had been executed. John, my cousin, my forerunner, the one who understood me. He was dead, beheaded by Herod to satisfy a dancing girl and her vindictive mother. And I hadn't had time to grieve, hadn't had space to process it. The crowds had followed me even when I tried to get away to pray, to be alone with my Father, to feel what I was, feeling. So there I was, grieving and exhausted and drained from the miracle and surrounded by thousands of people who wanted more from me, who always wanted more, one more healing, one more teaching, one more sign, one more miracle. And I knew that if I didn't get away, if I didn't create space, I was going to break. So I made everyone leave. The disciples didn't understand at first. They wanted to ride the wave of popularity. The people love you, they said. This is our moment. But I sent them away, told them to get in the boat and go to the other side of the lake, and I sent the crowds home, firmly, not meanly, but firmly. Go home, rest. That's enough for today. And then, finally, I went up the mountain alone. Just me and my Father. Just silence and stars and the cool night air. No one touching me. No one asking anything of me. No one needing anything from me. Just space. Just quiet. Just rest. I can't tell you how good it felt. That first moment of solitude. That first deep breath where I didn't have to be on. Where I didn't have to perform or heal or teach or be anything other than exactly what I was. Tired, grieving, human, needing my Father. I prayed that night, for hours, but it wasn't eloquent prayer. It wasn't the kind of prayer that would sound good if someone wrote it down. It was more like breathing out everything I'd been holding in, weeping for John, releasing the weight of all those expectations, telling my Father how tired I was, how hard it was, how sometimes I just wanted it to be over. Does that shock you, that I felt that way? It's true though. There were times when the weight of what I came to do felt unbearable. Times when I looked ahead at the cross and wanted to find another way. Times when I was so tired of being misunderstood, so tired of people wanting me to be something I wasn't, so tired of carrying the weight of the world's redemption on very human shoulders. But there on that mountain, in the dark, with my Father, I didn't have to be strong. I didn't have to have it all together. I could just be the Son, held by the Father, letting him carry what I couldn't carry alone. And that's what I did. I let him hold me. I let him strengthen me. I let him remind me why I was here and what it was all for. The disciples thought I was up there doing something super spiritual, having some mystical experience, seeing visions maybe, but mostly I was just sitting, breathing, feeling the solid rock beneath me, looking at the stars my Father made, remembering who I was and whose I was, letting my body catch up with my soul, letting my humanity have the space it needed. You need to know this about me. I didn't do ministry from a place of endless energy. I wasn't superhuman. I was human, and I had limits, and I had to honor those limits. When I was tired, I rested. When I was grieving, I withdrew. When I was overwhelmed, I got alone with my Father. That wasn't weakness. That was wisdom. There was another time. Early in my ministry, I'd been in Capernaum. One Sabbath day, I taught in the synagogue and cast out a demon. That was intense. Spiritual warfare always is. Then I went to Peter's house and healed his mother-in-law. She'd been burning with fever. I felt that fever leave her, felt the life flow from me to her. Then, because word spread fast, people brought everyone. Everyone who was sick. Everyone who was demon-possessed. Everyone who needed anything. And it says that I healed them all, every single one. Do you know what that means? Do you know what it costs to heal? Each person, each disease, each demon, each need drawing from me. By the time it was over, it was late. Very late. I was beyond exhausted, but I couldn't sleep. There was too much coursing through me, too much spent, too much given away. I needed more than sleep. I needed solitude. I needed my Father. So, very early the next morning, while it was still dark, I got up and went to a solitary place. I left the house, while everyone was sleeping, snuck out basically, because I knew if they woke up, they'd want something. They'd have plans for me. They'd have ideas about what I should do next. And I just couldn't. Not yet. I found a quiet place, and I prayed. Not performing prayer, not public prayer, just honest prayer. Father to son, need to provider, empty to full. And it was there, in that quiet darkness, that I found the strength to continue, that I remembered my purpose, that I reconnected with the source of everything I was doing. But here's the thing, the disciples didn't understand. When they woke up and found me gone, they panicked. They went searching for me. And when they found me, there was almost an accusation in Peter's voice. Everyone is looking for you. Like I was shirking my duty, like I was letting people down, like I shouldn't have taken that time away. And I had to teach them something important. I said, let's go somewhere else, to the nearby villages. I need to preach there too. That's why I came. I didn't let their urgency, their agenda, their idea of what I should be doing determine my actions. I stayed connected to my Father's will, even when everyone else thought I should be doing something different. That's something you need to learn too. People will always think you should be doing more, working harder, being more available, pushing through your exhaustion. They'll have their opinions about what you should do with your time, your energy, your life. But you have to stay connected to what the Father is actually asking of you. And sometimes often He's asking you to rest, to withdraw, to get alone with Him, to let yourself be restored. There were so many times like that. Times I sent the crowds away so I could be alone. Times I withdrew to the wilderness. Times I got in a boat and went to the other side of the lake just to get away. Times I went up mountains to pray. Times I needed space from even my closest disciples. It wasn't that I didn't love people. I did. I do. But love doesn't mean never having boundaries. Love doesn't mean being endlessly available. Love doesn't mean giving until you have nothing left. That's not love. That's martyrdom. And I wasn't called to be a martyr to people's expectations. I was called to be obedient to my Father, even when that obedience looked like rest. You know what I learned during those times of withdrawal? I learned that the work would still be there when I came back. The sick would still need healing. The crowds would still need teaching. The disciples would still need guidance. But I would be better able to give those things from a place of fullness rather than from a place of depletion. When I tried to minister from depletion, I was short-tempered, impatient, less compassionate than I wanted to be. There were times I snapped at the disciples, times I was frustrated with the crowds, times I felt resentful of the constant demands, and I recognized those feelings as signs that I needed to withdraw, signs that I needed to reconnect with my Father, signs that I was trying to operate from my own strength instead of His. But when I ministered from a place of rest, from a place of connection with the Father, it was different. I had compassion that seemed endless, patience with people's slowness to understand, joy in the midst of the hard work, peace even when things were chaotic. That's what I want for you too. Not ministry from depletion, but ministry from fullness. Not service from duty, but service from love. Not giving from guilt, but giving from overflow. And overflow only happens when you're being filled. You can't overflow an empty cup. You can't give from reserves that don't exist. You can't sustain a life of service without a life of connection to the source. I couldn't do it. What makes you think you can? There's this pattern in my life that I want you to see. Intense ministry followed by withdrawal. Crowds followed by solitude. Giving followed by receiving. It wasn't random. It was intentional. It was necessary. It was how I sustained 3 years of the most intense ministry the world has ever seen without burning out completely. Even at the end, even in Gethsemane, when I was facing the cross, I withdrew. I took Peter, James, and John with me. But then I went a little further, away from even them. I needed space. I needed to be alone with my Father. I needed to wrestle with what was coming, to feel the full weight of it, to cry out in anguish, to beg for another way, to ultimately surrender to the Father's will. That night in Gethsemane, I was in agony, sweating drops like blood, the weight of every sin, every pain, every moment of suffering in all of human history pressing down on me. And I needed space for that. I needed solitude. I needed my Father. The disciples couldn't help me. They couldn't carry that for me. They couldn't even stay awake with me. I had to face it alone with the Father. But here's what I want you to understand. Even in that darkest moment, even in that crushing weight, I found what I needed in withdrawal, in solitude, in connection with the Father. I found the strength to say, not my will, but yours. I found the courage to stand up and go meet my betrayer. I found the peace to walk toward the cross. That's what withdrawal does. That's what solitude provides. That's what rest gives you. Not escape from reality, but the strength to face it. Not avoidance of your calling, but the reconnection with why you were called in the first place. Not weakness, but the wisdom to know where your strength actually comes from. So when I see you sitting here, exhausted, depleted, running on empty, I don't see weakness. I see someone who's been trying to do what I never even tried to do. You've been trying to keep going without withdrawal. You've been trying to keep giving without being refilled. You've been trying to sustain ministry, service, love, strength without taking the time to reconnect with the source of all those things. And it's not working. Of course it's not working. It didn't work for me, and I'm the Son of God. How could it possibly work for you? You're human, just human, beautifully, gloriously, limitedly human. And humans need rest. Humans need withdrawal. Humans need time alone with the Father. Humans need to honor their limitations instead of pretending those limitations don't exist. I wish someone had told you earlier that it's okay to send the crowds away, that it's okay to get in the boat and go to the other side, that it's okay to climb the mountain and spend the night in prayer, that it's okay to sneak out early in the morning and find a solitary place, that it's okay to have boundaries and honor your limits and say, I can't do any more right now, but I'm telling you now. It's not just okay, it's necessary, it's essential. It's the only way to sustain a life of love and service without destroying yourself in the process. I modeled it for you. I showed you how. And now I'm inviting you to follow that example. Not the example of endless giving. Not the example of constant availability. Not the example of pushing through no matter what. But the example of withdrawal, of solitude, of rest, of reconnection with the Father, of operating from fullness instead of depletion, of sustainable love instead of martyrdom. The rain is still falling outside our cottage, steady, patient, unhurried. That's the rhythm I lived by, not the frantic pace of the crowd's expectations, not the urgent demands of people's needs, but the steady, patient, unhurried rhythm of connection with the Father, work and rest, giving and receiving, ministry and withdrawal. And that's the rhythm I'm inviting you into. Not as some impossible ideal, but as someone who lived it, who needed it, who modeled it for you. I'm not asking you to do something I never did. I'm inviting you to do exactly what I did, to honor your humanity the way I honored mine, to recognize your limits the way I recognize mine, to find your strength in the Father the way I found mine. You're not less spiritual because you're exhausted. You're not failing because you can't keep up with everyone's expectations. You're not weak because you need to withdraw. You're human, just like I was. And humans need rest. I needed it. You need it. That's not a flaw. That's the design. So here, in this cottage, in this warmth, in this safety, I want you to receive what I'm offering. Not just physical rest, though that's part of it, but permission. Permission to be human. Permission to have limits. Permission to honor those limits. Permission to withdraw when you need to. Permission to rest without guilt. Permission to reconnect with the Father instead of trying to operate from your own depleted reserves. I lived this. I know it works. I know it's the only way to sustain a life of love. And I'm here now, showing you the way, teaching you the rhythm, inviting you into the pattern I established. Work and rest. Giving and receiving. Ministry and withdrawal. Fullness, not depletion. Overflow, not empty cups. Listen to the rain. Listen to the fire. Listen to my voice. And know that I understand. I've been there. I felt what you're feeling. And I found the way through. Not by pushing harder. Not by ignoring my limits. But by honoring my humanity. By withdrawing when I needed to. By finding my strength in the Father. And that's what I'm teaching you to do. Right here. Right now. In this cottage. By this fire. Out of the rain. You're learning the rhythm of sustainable love. You're learning the wisdom of withdrawal. You're learning that rest isn't failure. It's faithfulness. Faithfulness to the way you were made. The way I was made. The way we're all made. So rest. Withdraw. Let yourself be refilled. Not so you can go back to the same unsustainable pace, but so you can learn a new rhythm. A better rhythm. The rhythm I lived. The rhythm that works. The rhythm of life from the Father, through you, to the world. Not life from your depleted reserves, wrung out until there's nothing left. You're safe here. You can rest here. And when you're ready, when you're refilled, I'll teach you how to keep living this rhythm, how to keep honoring your limits, how to keep withdrawing when you need to, how to keep finding your strength in the Father instead of in yourself. But for now, just rest, just receive, just let this truth sink in. I got tired too. I withdrew too. I needed rest too, and so do you. Welcome to being human. Welcome to being like me. Welcome home. You know what else I remember? The feeling in my body after those long days. The ache in my feet from walking miles and miles on dusty roads. The soreness in my throat from teaching to crowds of thousands without a microphone. The heaviness in my arms from laying hands on person after person after person. Feeling their diseases, carrying their pain, releasing healing into their bodies. People touched me constantly, all day, grabbing at my clothes, reaching for my hands, pressing in close, and I felt every touch, every need, every desperate hope. It wasn't abstract for me, it was physical, tangible, draining. By the end of some days, I could barely stand. My disciples would practically have to carry me to wherever we were staying. And the emotional weight. Oh, the emotional weight. Seeing so much suffering, so much pain, so much brokenness. Lepers who'd been outcasts for years. Parents bringing dead children. Blind men who'd never seen a sunrise. Demon-possessed people screaming in torment. I felt it all. I carried it all. Even when I released healing. Even when I cast out demons. I carried the weight of what I'd witnessed. There was this woman once. She'd been bleeding for 12 years. 12 years of being ritually unclean. 12 years of isolation. 12 years of spending everything she had on doctors who couldn't help her. And she touched the edge of my cloak in a crowd, just the edge. And I felt power go out from me. I felt her faith. I felt her desperation. I felt her healing happen. But I also felt her story, her loneliness, her shame, her years of suffering. And when I turned and asked who touched me, and she fell at my feet trembling, terrified that she'd done something wrong, I saw her whole life in her eyes. And it broke my heart, even as I spoke healing over her. daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Every healing was like that. Every miracle carried the weight of the suffering that made it necessary. Every demon I cast out, I saw what those demons had done to that person's life. Every time I raised someone from death, I felt the grief of those left behind. I carried it all, and it was heavy. So heavy. That's why I needed those times alone with the Father. Not just to recharge my batteries like some kind of divine cell phone, but to grieve, to process, to lay down the weight I'd been carrying, to let the Father carry it for me, to remember that I wasn't meant to bear it all alone, that the Father was with me, that the Spirit was strengthening me, that I was held even as I held others. Do you see the pattern? Even the Son of God couldn't do this work alone. Even fully connected to the Father, I needed intentional times of withdrawal, intentional times of rest, intentional times of letting the Father restore what the ministry had depleted. If I needed that, how much more do you? And here's something else I learned during those times of withdrawal. I learned to hear the Father's voice more clearly. When I was surrounded by crowds, by needs, by demands, by my disciples' questions and expectations, it was hard to hear. Oh, I could still hear the Father. I never lost that connection. But it was like trying to hear a whisper in a windstorm. Possible, but difficult. Requiring intense focus. But alone on the mountain, in the wilderness, in the early morning darkness in a solitary place. The Father's voice was clear, like water, like music, like coming home, and he'd tell me things, remind me of things, show me things, guide me to the next step, prepare me for what was coming, comfort me about what had passed. Those times of withdrawal weren't just about rest. They were about relationship, about intimacy with the Father, about remembering that before I was a healer or a teacher or the Messiah, I was the Son, the beloved Son, and the Father delighted in me, not for what I did, but for who I was. And, spending time with him, alone, away from all the demands, I could receive that love. I could rest in that identity. I could be refilled from that source. That's what you're missing when you don't withdraw. Not just rest, not just the chance to physically recover, but intimacy with the Father, time to hear his voice clearly, space to receive his love apart from any performance, opportunity to remember who you are before you're whatever you do. You're the beloved, the child of God, and he delights in you, not for your productivity, not for how many people you help, not for how strong you are, just for being you. But you can't hear that clearly in the chaos. You can't receive it fully in the midst of constant demands. You need withdrawal. You need solitude. You need sacred space. You need time alone with the Father where you're not trying to be anything or do anything or accomplish anything, where you're just being the beloved child in the Father's presence. I remember this one time. I'd been dealing with the Pharisees all day. They were trying to trap me, asking trick questions, looking for ways to accuse me, twisting everything I said, and I was so tired. Not just physically tired, soul tired. Tired of the games, tired of the politics, tired of people more interested in being right than in finding truth. And I went away that evening and I just sat with the Father, and he reminded me why I came. Not to win arguments with Pharisees, not to prove I was right, but to seek and save the lost, to bring good news to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to set captives free. The Pharisees, with all their questions and traps, they were just noise, distraction, not the main thing. And I came back from that time with the Father refocused, recentered, remembering what actually mattered. And the next day, when they came at me with more questions, more traps, I wasn't ruffled. I wasn't defensive. I just spoke truth and let it land where it would, because I knew who I was and why I was here. And their approval or disapproval didn't change that. That's what withdrawal does. It gives you perspective. It helps you distinguish between the noise and the signal. between what actually matters and what's just distraction, between the Father's voice and all the other voices clamoring for your attention, between your true identity and all the false identities people try to put on you. When you're exhausted, when you're depleted, when you're running on empty, you lose that perspective. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels important. Every demand feels like something you have to meet. Every need feels like something you have to fill. Every expectation feels like something you have to satisfy. And you end up running in 1,000 directions, trying to be everything to everyone and accomplishing nothing that really matters. But withdrawal gives you clarity. The Father shows you what's actually yours to do and what's not. What's the main thing and what's distraction. What's life-giving and what's life-draining. What's sustainable and what's going to destroy you. And then you can come back and engage from a place of wisdom instead of reactivity. From a place of intentionality instead of desperation. From a place of fullness instead of depletion. I think about Mary and Martha, two sisters I love dearly. One day I was at their house, and Martha was running around, stressed out, trying to make everything perfect, cooking and cleaning and serving, getting frustrated that Mary wasn't helping, getting resentful that she was just sitting at my feet listening. And Martha came to me exasperated. "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work? Tell her to help me." She was exhausted, overwhelmed, running on empty, doing all the right things but from a place of depletion and resentment. And I had to gently correct her. "Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." Mary had chosen withdrawal, not from life, not from relationship, but from all the doing and striving and performing. She had chosen to sit, to listen, to receive, to be present with me. And that, I told Martha, was the better choice. Not because serving isn't important, but because serving from a place of presence and fullness is so much better than serving from a place of anxiety and depletion. Martha was exhausted because she was trying to earn love through service. Mary was at rest because she was receiving love through presence. One was sustainable, one wasn't. One led to resentment and burnout. One led to peace and joy. And I wanted Martha to see that. I wanted her to choose what Mary chose. Not to stop serving, but to serve from a different place. A place of rest, a place of fullness, a place of received love. That's what I'm inviting you into right now. The Mary posture, the sitting at my feet, the withdrawal from all the doing, the choice to receive before you give, to be filled before you pour out, to rest in my presence before you go back to serve. Not because serving isn't important, but because serving from rest is so much better than serving from exhaustion. And here's the beautiful thing. When you withdraw regularly, when you make it a rhythm and not just a desperate last resort when you're already burned out, the serving becomes different. It becomes lighter, more joyful, less draining. Because you're not serving from duty or obligation or the fear of disappointing people. You're serving from overflow, from love, from the abundance that comes from spending time with the Father. That's how I did it. That's how I sustained 3 years of the most intense ministry without losing myself. That's how I went to the cross with peace instead of resentment. That's how I loved people, even when they disappointed me, denied me, betrayed me. Because I kept withdrawing. I kept returning to the Father. I kept filling up from that source of infinite love. And you can too. You can learn this rhythm, this pattern, this way of being. It's not complicated. It's not some advanced spiritual technique. It's just being human, the way humans were designed to be, connected to the source, filled from the Father, operating from fullness instead of depletion. The fire has settled even more now, just glowing embers with the occasional small flame. But the warmth is still there, still constant, still enough. That's what happens when you live from rest. You don't have to be all flame all the time. You can glow quietly and still give warmth, still give light, still give what people need, but sustainably, from a place of peace. I wish I could take away all your exhaustion right now. Just speak a word and have it all gone. But that's not how this works. Exhaustion accumulated over time has to be healed over time. You didn't get this depleted overnight, and you won't be fully restored overnight either. But you can start right here, right now, with this moment of rest, this moment of withdrawal, this moment of receiving instead of giving. And then you can keep going, keep choosing rest, keep choosing withdrawal, keep choosing the Father's presence over people's expectations. Keep choosing fullness over depletion. Keep choosing the Mary posture over the Martha anxiety. One day at a time, one choice at a time, until it becomes a rhythm, until it becomes your new normal, until it becomes the sustainable way you live instead of the exception. I'm here to teach you this, to show you the way, to walk with you through it, because I lived it. I know it works. I know it's possible. I know it's the only way. And I love you too much to let you keep destroying yourself in the name of serving me. That's not what I want. That's not what the Father wants. We want you whole. We want you rested. We want you filled. We want you sustained. So stay here a little longer. Let this truth sink deeper. Let this rest reach further. Let this withdrawal do its work. You're safe here. You're held here. You're loved here. And you're learning something that will change everything. The way of rest. The rhythm of withdrawal. The sustainable love that comes from fullness. I got tired too. I withdrew too. I needed rest too. And so do you. This isn't weakness. This is wisdom. This isn't failure. This is faithfulness. This is following my example. This is learning from the one who lived the most impactful life in human history and did it from a place of rest. Welcome to the rhythm. Welcome to the way. Welcome home. I am the Good Shepherd. You've heard me say that before, but I wonder if you really understand what it means, what it meant when I said it, what it means right now for you, sitting here exhausted in this cottage while the rain falls outside. A shepherd isn't just someone who owns sheep. A shepherd is someone who knows sheep, who understands them, who can read them, who knows what they need before they know it themselves. And I know you. I know sheep. I know when my sheep need to lie down. There's this psalm. You probably know it. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Makes me lie down. Not invites. Not suggests. Not recommends. Makes me. Because sheep, you see, won't lie down on their own. Not unless certain conditions are met. Let me tell you about sheep. I spent a lot of time around them growing up. Watched the shepherds, learned from them, understood their ways. And sheep are anxious creatures, always alert, always watching for predators, always aware that they're vulnerable. And because of that anxiety, they won't rest, they won't lie down, they can't. A sheep will only lie down when 4 conditions are met. 4 things have to be true before a sheep feels safe enough to rest, and all 4 have to be present. Not 3, not 2, all 4. Otherwise, the sheep stays standing, stays vigilant, stays exhausted but unable to rest. First, they have to be free from fear. If there's any sense of danger, any hint of a predator nearby, any reason to think they might need to run, they won't lie down. They can't. Their instinct for survival won't let them. They'll stand there, trembling with exhaustion, eyes wide, muscles tense, too afraid to rest even when they desperately need it. Second, they have to be free from friction with other sheep. Sheep have hierarchies, pecking orders. And if there's conflict in the flock, if there's tension, if there's a sheep being bullied or pushed around, they won't rest. The whole flock stays agitated. Even the sheep not directly involved in the conflict feel the tension and can't settle. Third, they have to be free from pests, flies, parasites, things that irritate them, things that buzz around their heads and bite and make them miserable. If they're being tormented by pests, they'll shake their heads and stamp their feet and move around trying to escape the irritation. They won't lie down. They can't. The torment won't let them. And fourth, they have to be free from hunger. If they haven't eaten enough, if their stomachs aren't satisfied, if they're still looking for food, they won't lie down. They'll keep grazing, keep searching, keep moving, even if they're tired, even if they need rest. The hunger drives them. Only when all four conditions are met will a sheep lie down. Only when they feel safe from predators, free from conflict, unbothered by pests, and satisfied in their hunger, will they finally rest. And here's the thing. Sheep can't create these conditions for themselves. They need a shepherd. The shepherd creates safety. The shepherd deals with the predators. The shepherd manages the flock dynamics and prevents bullying. The shepherd applies oil to repel the pests. The shepherd leads them to good pasture where there's enough food. The shepherd creates the conditions for rest. And sometimes, when the sheep has been running on anxiety and adrenaline for so long that it doesn't know how to stop, the shepherd makes them lie down. That's what the psalm says. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Because left to ourselves, we won't. We can't. We're too much like sheep. Too anxious. Too aware of all the dangers. Too caught up in the conflicts. Too tormented by the irritations. Too hungry for something we can't even name. And so we keep going. Keep standing. Keep pushing. Even when we're exhausted. Even when we desperately need rest. But I'm the good shepherd. And I know when my sheep need to lie down. I can see it in you right now. The way you're holding tension in your body even as you try to relax. The way your mind is still racing even as you sit here. The way you're afraid to fully let go even though you're safe. The way you're still trying to figure out what you should be doing instead of just being here. You're like a sheep that's been standing too long, trembling with exhaustion, but unable to lie down. And so, I'm doing what a good shepherd does. I'm creating the conditions for rest. I'm addressing the fears. I'm dealing with the conflicts. I'm soothing the irritations. I'm satisfying the hunger. I'm making you lie down in green pastures. Let's talk about fear first, because I think that's the biggest thing keeping you from rest. You're afraid. Maybe you don't even realize it. Maybe you've been living with fear for so long it feels normal, but it's there. Fear of what will happen if you stop. Fear of letting people down. Fear of losing control. Fear of what you'll feel if you're not constantly busy. Fear of discovering you can't actually do it all. Fear of being found out as less capable than everyone thinks you are. And that fear keeps you standing, keeps you alert, keeps you unable to rest even when you're safe, even when you're here in this cottage with me. Because fear doesn't respond to circumstances. Fear responds to presence. And that's why I'm here, not just in the cottage, but with you. Always with you. You know what I kept telling my disciples? Don't be afraid. Over and over. When I walked on water toward their boat in the storm. When I stood before them after the resurrection. When I sent them out to face persecution. Don't be afraid. Not because there was nothing to fear, but because I was with them. And my presence is greater than any danger. I'm with you now, right now, in this moment. And I'm with you always. When you leave this cottage, when you go back to your life, when you face all those responsibilities and demands, I'm there. I'm the good shepherd. I don't leave my sheep. I don't abandon them to the wolves. I'm always there, always watching, always protecting, always creating safety. And so I'm telling you, you can rest. You can lie down. You don't have to stay alert for danger. I'm handling that. I'm watching. I'm protecting. The predators that circle your life, the ones that want to devour your peace, your joy, your faith, your health. I see them, and I'm dealing with them. You don't have to. Now the friction, the conflict. You've got that too, don't you? Tension with people, disagreements, hurt feelings, unresolved issues, maybe conflict in your family, tension at work, frustration with friends, division in your church. And it's eating at you, making you agitated, keeping you from rest. Sheep can't resolve their own conflicts. They need a shepherd to step in, to separate the aggressive ones, to protect the vulnerable ones, to restore order to the flock. And that's what I do. I step into the conflicts of your life, and I bring peace. Not always by resolving everything instantly, but by being present in the midst of it, by giving you wisdom, by healing relationships, by sometimes removing toxic people from your life, by teaching you when to engage and when to let go. But here's what I need you to understand. You can't fix all the relational tension in your life right now. You just can't. Some of it is beyond your control. Some of it involves other people's choices that you can't change. Some of it is going to take time to heal. And if you keep standing there, trying to manage it all, trying to smooth everything over, trying to make everyone happy, you're never going to rest. So I'm telling you, as your shepherd, some of that friction isn't yours to fix. Some of those conflicts aren't yours to resolve. Your job is to trust me to handle it, to step back and let me work, to stop trying to be the peacemaker in every situation when sometimes I'm calling you to just be at peace yourself, even when there's conflict around you. And the pests, oh, the pests, the things that torment you, the thoughts that buzz around your head like flies, the worries that bite at you, the regrets that won't leave you alone, the what-ifs and the should-haves and the why didn't I's, the comparison that makes you feel inadequate, the criticism that replays in your mind, the shame that won't let you go. These are the pests that keep you from rest, and you can't swat them all away on your own. You've tried. I've watched you try, batting at the thoughts, trying to think positively, trying to just not worry, trying to let things go, but they keep coming back, keep buzzing, keep biting, keep tormenting. So here's what a shepherd does with pests. He applies oil. In the ancient world, shepherds would put oil on the sheep's head, around their ears, their nose, and the pests couldn't stand it. The oil repelled them, and the sheep could finally rest. The oil is my spirit, my presence, my truth spoken into your mind. And when I apply it, when I anoint you with it, those tormenting thoughts lose their power. They can't get to you the same way. They can't burrow in and make you miserable. The oil of my presence repels them, but you have to let me apply it. You have to bring those thoughts to me instead of trying to battle them yourself. You have to let me speak truth into the lies. Let me pour peace over the anxiety. Let me cover the shame with grace. Let me quiet the comparison with assurance of your worth. Let me silence the criticism with reminders of my love. I'm doing that right now, right here. As you sit in this warmth, as you listen to this rain, as you rest in this cottage, I'm anointing you with oil. I'm speaking truth over the lies. I'm covering you with peace. I'm repelling the pests that have been tormenting you. Just receive it. Just let it happen. Just let the oil do its work. And then there's the hunger, the deep, gnawing hunger that keeps you searching, keeps you moving, keeps you unable to rest because you haven't found what you're looking for. You're hungry for approval, hungry for success, hungry for validation, hungry for purpose, hungry for love, hungry for meaning, hungry for something to fill the emptiness inside. And you keep grazing, keep searching, keep trying new things, new accomplishments, new relationships, new experiences, hoping that this will be the thing that finally satisfies. But it never quite does it? You get a taste, and it's good for a moment, but then the hunger comes back. And so, you keep moving, Keep searching. Unable to rest because you haven't found what you're hungry for. But here's what you need to know. That hunger isn't for what you think it's for. It's for me. It's always been for me. All those things you're hungry for. Approval, success, validation, purpose, love, meaning. They're all found in me. Not in addition to me. Not alongside me. In me. I am what you're hungry for. And I'm here. I've always been here. I'm the green pasture. I'm the still water. I'm the nourishment your soul craves. And when you feed on me, when you drink from me, when you find your satisfaction in me, then you can rest. Because the hunger is satisfied. Not temporarily, not partially, but truly, deeply, lastingly satisfied. That's what I meant when I said, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. I'm not just offering you food, I'm offering you satisfaction, the kind that lasts, the kind that actually fills you, the kind that lets you finally rest. So here's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating all 4 conditions for rest. I'm dealing with your fears by being present with you. I'm addressing the conflicts by taking them from your shoulders. I'm anointing you with oil to repel the tormenting thoughts. And I'm satisfying your hunger with my presence, my love, my purpose for you. And now I'm making you lie down in green pastures, not because you've earned it, not because you've created the perfect conditions yourself, but because I'm the good shepherd, and this is what good shepherds do. They create rest for their sheep. They make rest possible. They insist on rest when the sheep won't choose it for themselves. You've been standing too long, running on fear and friction and torment and hunger for too long. And I'm saying enough. Lie down. Rest. Let me handle the predators. Let me manage the flock dynamics. Let me anoint you with oil. Let me satisfy your hunger. You don't have to keep standing. You don't have to keep being vigilant. You don't have to keep pushing. The psalm continues. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Still waters, not rushing rivers, not crashing waves, not turbulent rapids. Still waters, calm, peaceful, reflective, safe. Sheep are afraid of rushing. Water, they can't swim. If they fall in, their wool gets waterlogged and they drown. So shepherds don't lead sheep to rushing rivers. They lead them to still waters, places where the sheep can drink safely, where they can be refreshed without danger. And that's where I'm leading you. Not into more chaos, not into more demands, not into more rushing and striving and struggling, but beside still waters, into peace, into calm, into restoration, into the kind of rest that refreshes your soul. Your soul needs restoration, not just your body, not just your emotions, your soul. The deepest part of you, the part that bears the image of God, the part that's been depleted by all this striving, the part that's forgotten who you are and whose you are, the part that's lost its way, and I restore it. That's what I do. I lead you beside still waters, and I restore your soul. I remind you who you are. I reconnect you with your purpose. I refresh your spirit. I renew your mind. I heal your heart. I restore what's been depleted. I rebuild what's been broken down. I revive what's nearly died. But I can't restore what won't rest. I can't refresh what won't stop moving long enough to drink. I can't heal what won't be still long enough to let the healing happen. That's why I make you lie down. That's why I insist on rest. Because restoration requires it. There's no other way. Listen to the rain. It's still falling, still patient, still gentle, still soaking in. That's restoration, not a quick fix. Not an instant solution, but a patient, gentle, thorough work that takes time. That requires you to be still. That asks you to trust the process. You know what the psalm says next? He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Paths of righteousness, not paths of perfection, not paths of endless productivity, not paths of never stopping, always giving, constantly performing, paths of righteousness, right living, sustainable living, the kind of living that honors how you were made. And it's for His name's sake, for His reputation, not yours. See, when you burn out, when you destroy yourself through constant striving, when you collapse from exhaustion, it doesn't reflect well on me. People look at you and they think, is that what following Jesus does to a person? Makes them exhausted and depleted and miserable. And that's not the reputation I want. I want people to look at you and see rest, see peace, see someone who's found sustainable rhythms, see someone who trusts their shepherd, see someone who knows how to lie down in green pastures because they know their shepherd creates the conditions for rest. That's what reflects well on me. That's what honors my name. So when I guide you in paths of righteousness, when I teach you how to rest, when I insist that you honor your limits, I'm not just doing it for you. I'm doing it for my name's sake, so that the world can see what it looks like to be shepherded well, what it looks like to trust, what it looks like to live from rest instead of striving. The fire is glowing steady. The rain is falling soft. The cottage is warm and safe. And you're here, with me, your shepherd, learning to lie down, learning to drink from still waters, learning to let your soul be restored, learning that rest isn't something you have to create for yourself. It's something I create for you. All 4 conditions are met. You're free from fear because I'm with you. You're free from the conflicts because I'm handling them. You're free from the tormenting thoughts because I'm anointing you with oil. You're free from the hunger because I'm satisfying it with my presence. And so now you can rest. Now you can lie down. Now you can let go. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep. I know you. I know what you need. I know when you need it. And right now, you need rest. Deep, restoring, soul-level rest. And I'm giving it to you. Not because you've earned it. Not because you deserve it. But because I'm a good shepherd. And this is what good shepherds do. So receive it. Let yourself lie down in these green pastures. Let yourself drink from these still waters. Let your soul be restored. Trust your shepherd. I've got this. I've got you. You're safe. You're held. You're known. You're loved. And you're finally allowed to rest. You know what else the psalm says? Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Even in the darkest places, even in the hardest times, even when everything feels overwhelming and impossible, the shepherd is there. I'm there. And notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say, I won't go through valleys. It doesn't say, I'll avoid the shadow of death. It doesn't say, nothing bad will ever happen. It says even though, even in the midst of, even when. And in those times, the one thing that makes the difference is this. I am with you. Your exhaustion right now. This is a valley. The shadow of death isn't always literal death. Sometimes it's the death of your strength, the death of your ability to keep going, the death of your illusion that you can do it all on your own. And that shadow is dark. It's scary. It makes you feel like you're dying even though your heart is still beating. But I'm with you in this valley. I'm walking through it with you. My rod and my staff, they comfort you. You know what those are? Tools of the shepherd. The rod is for protection, long and strong, with a heavy end. Used to fight off predators. To defend the sheep. The staff is for guidance, the curved end to gently pull sheep back when they wander, to help them out of difficult places, to guide them on the path, and both of them comfort. Not because they're soft or easy, but because they represent the shepherd's active care, the shepherd's willingness to fight for the sheep, the shepherd's commitment to guide them. When you see the rod and staff, you know the shepherd is engaged, present, actively caring, and that brings comfort even in the valley. I'm actively caring for you right now, fighting off the predators of despair and hopelessness that want to consume you in this exhausted state, guiding you back from the edge of burnout, pulling you into this place of rest, using my rod and my staff to protect and guide And even though you're in this valley, even though you feel like you're in the shadow of death, you don't have to fear evil, because I'm with you. The psalm continues with this beautiful image. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Think about that. A table, a feast, rest, nourishment. And where is this table prepared? In the presence of enemies. Not after the enemies are gone, not when everything is safe and perfect, but right in the middle of the threat. That's what I'm doing right now. Your enemies haven't gone away. The demands on your life are still there. The expectations are still pressing. The responsibilities are still waiting. The problems you were worried about yesterday, they'll still be there tomorrow. Your enemies, so to speak, are still present. But I've prepared this table anyway. This cottage, this fire, this warmth, this rest, right in the middle of it all, right in the presence of everything that was overwhelming you. I've created this space of peace, this feast of restoration, this table of grace, and I'm inviting you to sit and eat, to be nourished, to be strengthened, even though the enemies are still out there. Because that's what a good shepherd does. A good shepherd doesn't wait for perfect conditions to care for the sheep. A good shepherd creates moments of rest, provides nourishment, offers protection right in the middle of the difficulty, right where you need it most. And here's what's beautiful about a table prepared in the presence of enemies. It's a statement. It's a declaration. It says, these enemies don't get to determine everything. They don't get to steal every moment. They don't get to prevent rest and nourishment and care. Even in their presence, there can be peace. Even surrounded by threats, there can be a feast. Even in the valley, there can be a table. So sit at this table. Eat this feast, not literal food, though that's good too, but feast on my presence. Nourish yourself on my love. Drink deeply of my peace. Let yourself be filled. Even though, even in the midst of, even while, the enemies can watch. Let them. This table is for you. This feast is yours. This rest is your inheritance as my sheep. You anoint my head with oil. There it is again, the oil. The shepherd taking time to care for the individual sheep, not just managing the flock as a whole, but attending to each one, checking for wounds, looking for pest bites, applying oil carefully, tenderly, speaking gently to the sheep while doing it. That's what's happening right now. I'm anointing you, tending to your wounds, the wounds of harsh words that cut you, the wounds of disappointment that bruised you, the wounds of failure that pierced you, the wounds of exhaustion that weakened you. I see them all. And I'm applying oil, healing oil, soothing oil, protective oil. And it's personal, it's intimate. It's me and you, not me and the crowd, not me and the church, not me and humanity in general. Me and you, the good shepherd, and this particular sheep, this tired, wounded, depleted sheep who desperately needs the shepherd's tender care. That's you. And I'm here, anointing you, caring for you, personally. My cup overflows. After all that care, after being made to lie down, after being led to still waters, after soul restoration, after walking through the valley with the shepherd, after feasting at the table, after being anointed with oil, the result is overflow. Not just enough, not just barely making it, not just scraping by. Overflow, more than you need, abundance, excess, the kind of fullness that spills over, that can't be contained, that naturally flows to others without you having to force it or manufacture it. But notice the order. The overflow comes last. It doesn't come first. You don't start with overflow and then rest. You rest first. You receive first. You let yourself be cared for first. And then, from that place of being well tended, well fed, well protected, well restored, then comes overflow. You've been trying to overflow from an empty cup, trying to give abundance when you were running on fumes, trying to let your life spill over to others when you were barely surviving. yourself. And it doesn't work that way. It can't. You have to be filled first. You have to be tended first. You have to rest first. And then the overflow happens naturally. That's what I'm doing here. I'm filling your cup, not asking you to pour out, not demanding that you serve, not expecting you to overflow, just filling, just caring, just restoring. And when your cup is full, when it's truly full, the overflow will come, but not before. First the filling, then the overflow, and the psalm ends with this promise: surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Goodness and mercy following you, not you chasing after them, not you working for them, not you earning them, but them following you, pursuing you, tracking you, because you're the sheep of the Good Shepherd. Goodness and mercy are like shepherd dogs, trained to protect the flock, to keep the sheep together, to guide them back when they wander. And these dogs follow you all the days of your life, every day. Good days and bad days, strong days and weak days, productive days and exhausted days. Goodness and mercy are following you. You don't have to be good enough to deserve goodness. You don't have to perform perfectly to earn mercy. They're following you because you belong to the Good Shepherd, because you're his sheep, because that's what comes with being shepherded by me. My goodness chases after you. My mercy tracks you down. You can't outrun them. You can't exhaust them. They're always there, following you. And you will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Not just visit, not just stop by occasionally. Dwell, live, remain, forever. This isn't temporary. This isn't a one-time encounter. This is your permanent reality. You are the sheep of the Good Shepherd. You live in his house. You're part of his flock. You're under his care. Always, forever. So this rest you're experiencing right now, it's not an exception to your life. It's meant to be the pattern of your life. This cottage represents the house of the Lord. This warmth represents his presence. This safety represents his care. And you're meant to dwell here, to live from here, to make this your home base, not to never leave, not to hide from the world, but to always return, to always come back to the shepherd, to always let yourself be tended, to always receive the care you need, to always rest when rest is needed, to dwell in the house of the Lord, to live as a sheep who knows their shepherd and trusts their shepherd and rests in their shepherd's care. That's the life I'm offering you, not a one-time rescue from exhaustion, but a whole new way of living, a rhythm of being shepherded, a pattern of rest and restoration, a sustainable way of moving through the world as one who is known and loved and cared for by the Good Shepherd. And it starts here, in this cottage, by this fire, in this moment, with this rest. You're learning what it feels like to be shepherded well, to have all four conditions for rest met, to lie down in green pastures, to drink from still waters, to have your soul restored, to walk through valleys with me, to feast at tables prepared for you, to be anointed with oil, to have your cup filled to overflowing, to be followed by goodness and mercy. You're learning that you don't have to create these conditions yourself. You can't. You're a sheep. Sheep can't protect themselves from predators, can't resolve their own conflicts, can't repel their own pests, can't satisfy their own deepest hungers. They need a shepherd, and you have one, the Good Shepherd, the one who knows you, who sees you, who understands exactly what you need. And what you need right now is rest, deep rest, soul-restoring rest, the kind that only comes when all four conditions are met. When you're free from fear because I'm with you, free from conflict because I'm managing it, free from torment because I'm anointing you, free from hunger because I'm satisfying you with my presence. All four conditions are met right here, right now, in this cottage, by this fire, with me. So rest, really rest. Not the fitful half rest of a sheep that's still anxious, but the deep, true rest of a sheep who knows their shepherd is watching, is protecting, is providing, is present, I'm not going to let a predator get you while you rest. I'm not going to let the conflicts destroy you. I'm not going to let the tormenting thoughts consume you. I'm not going to let you starve. I'm the good shepherd. This is what I do. I create conditions for rest. I make my sheep lie down. I lead them to still waters. I restore their souls. And you're my sheep. You hear my voice. You follow me. And I give you eternal life. And you shall never perish. Neither shall anyone snatch you out of my hand. That's my promise to you. You're secure. You're safe. You're held. Not by your own strength. Not by your own effort. But by my hand. And no one can snatch you from it. So let go. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be shepherded. Let yourself rest. The Good Shepherd knows what you need, knows when you need it, and is providing it right now, right here, in this warm cottage, by this gentle fire, while the rain falls soft outside. You don't have to be strong anymore. You don't have to create your own safety. You don't have to resolve all the conflicts. You don't have to battle all the thoughts. You don't have to satisfy all the hungers. You just have to be a sheep. And sheep who have a good shepherd get to rest. So rest. I'm watching. I'm protecting. I'm providing. I'm present. The Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. He's making you lie down in green pastures. He's leading you beside still waters. He's restoring your soul. And goodness and mercy are following you all the days of your life, forever. Welcome to the flock. Welcome to being shepherded. Welcome to rest. Let me tell you a story, a true story about a man who reached the absolute end of himself, a prophet named Elijah. You might know his name. You might know some of his story. But I want to tell you about a particular moment in his life, a moment when he was exactly where you are right now, exhausted, depleted, wanting to give up. Elijah had just experienced one of the greatest spiritual victories in history. Mount Carmel, you've probably heard about it. He challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a showdown. Whose God would answer with fire? Their God or the one true God? And you know what happened. Fire fell from heaven, consumed the sacrifice, proved beyond any doubt that the Lord is God. The people fell on their faces. The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God, they shouted. It was a moment of triumph, of vindication. Everything Elijah had been saying for years, everything he'd stood for, everything he'd suffered for, validated in an instant. Fire from heaven, undeniable, powerful, miraculous. And then he killed the false prophets, all 450 of them. It was justice. It was necessary. It was what God commanded. But it was also exhausting, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And then he prayed, and the rains came. After 3.5 years of drought, the rains finally came. Another miracle, another answer to prayer, another victory. You'd think that would be the end of the story, right? The prophet triumphant, the people turning back to God, the drought ending, victory upon victory upon victory. But that's not what happened, because Queen Jezebel heard about what Elijah did, about the prophets of Baal being killed, and she sent him a message, a death threat. May the gods do to me and more also, if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by this time tomorrow. And Elijah ran. This man who had just called down fire from heaven, this man who had just ended a 3-year drought, this man who had stood alone against 450 false prophets without flinching. He heard Jezebel's threat, and he ran for his life. Why? Because he was exhausted. Because victory doesn't mean you're not tired. Because even the greatest spiritual high can be followed by the deepest crash. He ran all the way to Beersheba, left his servant there, and then went another day's journey into the wilderness, alone, running from his fear, running from his exhaustion, running from everything. And finally, he couldn't run anymore. He collapsed under a broom tree, a scraggly desert shrub that barely gave any shade. And there, in the wilderness, under that pathetic excuse for a tree, Elijah prayed. But it wasn't a prayer of faith. It wasn't a prayer of power. It wasn't the kind of prayer that calls down fire from heaven. It was a prayer of absolute despair. I have had enough, Lord, take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. He wanted to die. This great prophet of God, this man of faith and power, he wanted to die. And here's what I want you to understand. God didn't rebuke him. God didn't say, "How dare you talk like that after I just gave you such a great victory?" God didn't remind him of the fire from heaven or the rain or the dead prophets. God didn't give him a lecture about faith or perseverance or not giving up. You know what God did? He let him sleep. That's it. Elijah prayed to die, and God's response was, "You need to sleep." An angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." Not, "Get up and get back to work." Not, "Get up and pull yourself together." Just, "Get up and eat." And there was food, bread baked on hot stones, a jar of water, simple, practical, exactly what his body needed, not a spiritual experience, not a burning bush or a voice from heaven, just bread and water. Because sometimes what you need isn't something mystical. Sometimes what you need is food and sleep. So Elijah ate and drank. And then, you know what he did? He lay down again and went back to sleep. And God let him. God didn't wake him up and say, "That's enough rest, time to get moving." God let him sleep some more, because that's what he needed. His body needed rest. His emotions needed rest. His soul needed rest. And then the angel came again, touched him again. "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." Still no rebuke, still no lecture, just practical care, more food, more water, and this acknowledgement. The journey is too much for you. Not, "You're not strong enough." Not, "You're weak." Just, "This is hard. This is more than you can handle alone. So eat, rest, let yourself be cared for." Elijah ate and drank again. Strengthened by that food, he traveled 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. 40 days. That's how much strength that rest and that food gave him. That's what happens when you let yourself actually rest, when you let yourself actually be cared for, when you stop trying to push through on your own strength. But here's what gets me about this story. What moves me about my father's response to Elijah. He didn't fix the problem first. Jezebel was still threatening him. The spiritual battle wasn't over. The danger was still real. Everything that caused Elijah to run was still there. But God didn't address any of that first. He addressed Elijah's exhaustion first. He tended to Elijah's body first. He provided food and sleep first. Because God knew that Elijah couldn't handle anything else until he was rested, couldn't hear God clearly, couldn't make good decisions, couldn't have perspective, couldn't do anything productive or healthy or wise until he was no longer running on empty. And that's what I'm doing with you right now. Everything that exhausted you is still out there. The problems haven't gone away. The responsibilities are still waiting. The people who need you still need you. The circumstances that depleted you are still real. But I'm not addressing any of that right now. I'm addressing your exhaustion. I'm tending to your needs. I'm providing rest and warmth and safety. Because you can't handle anything else until you're rested. You know what Elijah said when he finally got to the mountain? When God asked him what he was doing there, he said, "I have been very zealous for the Lord God Almighty. The Israelites have rejected your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to death with the sword. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." He was discouraged, feeling alone, feeling like everything he'd worked for had failed, feeling like he was the only one still fighting, feeling like it was all too much. And those feelings were real, valid, understandable, but they weren't the full truth. And God showed him that, not with words at first, but with experiences. God told him to go stand on the mountain because the Lord was about to pass by. And then there was a great and powerful wind, so strong it tore the mountains apart and shattered rocks. But the Lord was not in the wind. Then an earthquake, powerful, terrifying. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. Then a fire, consuming, intense. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a gentle whisper, a still, small voice. And that's where the Lord was, not in the dramatic displays of power, not in the wind or earthquake or fire, but in the gentle whisper, speaking tenderly to his exhausted prophet. And what did God tell him? First, that he wasn't alone. There were 7,000 others in Israel who hadn't bowed to Baal. 7,000. Elijah thought he was the only one, but he wasn't. He just couldn't see clearly, because he was so exhausted. Exhaustion lies to you like that. Makes you feel more alone than you are. Makes everything seem more hopeless than it is. Distorts your perspective. Second, God gave him new assignments. Not a rebuke for running, not punishment for wanting to die, but new work. Anoint new kings. Anoint a new prophet to succeed you. The work continues. You're not done. But you're also not doing it alone anymore. And it's okay that you can't do it all by yourself. Third, and this is important, God was going to raise up Elisha to help him, to eventually take over for him. Because Elijah couldn't do it all alone, shouldn't do it all alone, wasn't meant to do it all alone. And admitting that wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. That's what I see in this story. God's tender response to human exhaustion. No shame, no condemnation, no disappointment, just practical care, food, sleep, safety, time. And then, when Elijah was rested, clarity, perspective, new direction, help. And I'm doing the same thing for you. Right now, in this cottage, I'm being the angel touching you saying, get up and eat, rest. The journey ahead is too much for you to handle alone, so let yourself be strengthened. I'm not rebuking you for being exhausted. I'm not disappointed that you can't keep going. I'm tending to your needs. And when you're rested, when you're restored, I'll give you clarity too. I'll show you that you're not as alone as you feel. I'll give you new direction. I'll help you see what's actually yours to do and what isn't. I'll bring people to help you carry the load. But not now. Now is for rest. Now is for being cared for. Now is for letting the journey be acknowledged as too much, because it is too much. What you've been carrying, what you've been facing, what you've been trying to handle on your own, it's too much. And I'm not saying that to make you feel bad. I'm saying it to give you permission to stop, permission to rest, permission to be human. Elijah was a great prophet, one of the greatest. He never died. He was taken up to heaven in a chariot of fire. But in that moment, under the broom tree, he was just a tired, scared, overwhelmed human being who couldn't do it anymore. And God loved him enough to meet him there, to care for his body, to let him sleep, to feed him, to speak gently to him, to not require anything from him except to receive care. That's how my Father is. That's how I am. We're not slave drivers demanding more and more from you until you drop. We're not disappointed when you reach your limits. We're not angry when you can't keep up the pace. We see you. We know you. We understand exactly how tired you are. And we respond with tenderness. Listen to the rain outside. It's still falling. Patient, steady, like the care of God. Not dramatic, not flashy, not the wind or earthquake or fire, just gentle, persistent, nourishing, soaking in deep. That's what's happening to you right now. You're being nourished, restored, cared for, not because you've earned it, not because you deserve it, but because you need it, and that's enough. You know what I love about the fact that God let Elijah sleep twice? It shows that God understands recovery takes time. One nap wasn't enough. One meal wasn't enough. Elijah needed extended rest, multiple rounds of food and sleep, time for his body to recover, time for his emotions to settle, time for his soul to be restored. And you need that too. This moment right now, in this cottage, It's good. It's needed. It's important. But it's not the only rest you need. You need ongoing rest, regular rest, the kind of rest that becomes a rhythm in your life, not just an emergency measure when you're about to collapse. That's what God was teaching Elijah, that it's okay to need rest, that rest isn't failure, that even the greatest prophets, even the mightiest servants of God, need to eat and sleep and be cared for, that the journey is often too much, and that's not a character flaw. That's just reality. And when you accept that reality, when you stop fighting it and start working with it, when you build rest into your life instead of trying to power through without it, everything changes. You become more sustainable, more joyful, more effective in the long run. Not because you're working harder, but because you're working from a place of health instead of depletion. Elijah's story doesn't end under the broom tree. He got up. He went on. He had more ministry, more miracles, more impact. But he was different after that. He learned something under that tree. He learned that it was okay to reach the end of himself, that God would meet him there, that rest wasn't weakness, that asking for help wasn't failure. And he took Elisha as his companion, his helper, his eventual successor. He stopped trying to do it all alone, and the ministry continued. The work got done, but in a healthier way, a more sustainable way, a way that honored his humanity instead of denying it. That's what I want for you too. I want you to get up from this rest and go on. But differently. Not back to the same unsustainable pace. Not back to trying to do everything alone. Not back to ignoring your limits, but forward into a new way, a healthier way. A way that includes rest and help and honesty about your limitations. The fire is glowing warm, the rain is still falling, and you're here, under your broom tree, in your wilderness, having reached the end of yourself, and I'm here too. Not rebuking, not demanding, not disappointed, just offering food and rest and tenderness, just saying, the journey is too much for you alone, so eat, rest, be strengthened, and know that you're not alone. You're not the only one fighting this battle. You're not the only one feeling exhausted. You're not the only one wondering if you can keep going. There are others, 7,000 others, so to speak. You just can't see them right now because you're too tired to see clearly. But they're there. And when you're rested, you'll see them. You'll find them. You'll connect with them. And you won't feel so alone. And I'm raising up help for you too. People to share the load. People to encourage you. People to work alongside you. You don't have to do it all yourself. You were never meant to. And admitting that is wisdom, not weakness. So rest under this broom tree, this cottage in the storm. Let the angel's message sink in. Get up and eat. Get up and drink. The journey is too much for you, not as condemnation, as compassion, as care, as the tender love of a God who understands human exhaustion and responds with gentleness. You've had enough, I know. You've told me. Maybe not out loud like Elijah did, but I've heard it anyway. I've heard it in your sighs, in your tears, in your desperate prayers, in your silence when you're too tired to even form words. I've heard it, and my response is the same as it was to Elijah. Rest, eat, sleep, be strengthened. The journey continues, but not today, not right now. Right now is for recovery, for being tended, for letting yourself be cared for without having to do anything in return. Welcome to the wilderness. Welcome to the broom tree. Welcome to the place where prophets collapse and God responds with food and sleep and tenderness. You're in good company, and you're going to be okay, because the same God who cared for Elijah is caring for you. The same gentle whisper that spoke to him on the mountain is speaking to you now. The same provision that strengthened him for 40 days is being given to you. Rest now. Let the angel touch you. Let the food nourish you. Let the sleep restore you. The journey is too much for you, and that's okay, because you're not alone. I'm here, and I've got this. I've got you. You know what strikes me about Elijah's story? The timing. He didn't collapse before the big battle. He didn't give up when things were at their hardest. He held it together through the drought, through the confrontation, through the spiritual warfare. He held it together until after the victory. And then he fell apart. That's so common. More common than people realize. You hold it together during the crisis. You find strength you didn't know you had. You push through. You do what needs to be done. And then, when it's over, when the adrenaline stops, when the immediate danger passes, that's when you collapse. That's when the exhaustion catches up with you. That's when you can finally afford to fall apart. And people don't understand that. They look at you and think, but you made it through the hard part. Why are you struggling now? They expect you to be celebrating your victory, not collapsing under a tree wanting to die. They don't get it. But I do. I understand exactly what's happening. Victory is exhausting. Spiritual breakthrough is draining. Even answered prayer takes something out of you. Because it's not just the event itself. It's everything leading up to it. All the faith you had to maintain. All the prayers you had to pray. All the waiting you had to endure. All the doubt you had to fight. All the fear you had to push through. It accumulates. And eventually, the bill comes due. Elijah had been running on adrenaline and faith for so long. 3.5 years of drought. 3.5 years of being God's spokesman in a hostile environment. 3.5 years of standing alone, and then this massive confrontation on Mount Carmel, calling down fire from heaven, executing false prophets, praying for rain. It was all so intense, so high stakes, so consuming, and then Jezebel's threat. One more thing, one more crisis, one more danger, and Elijah just couldn't. He had nothing left. The well was dry, the tank was empty, the reserves were depleted, so he ran and collapsed and prayed to die. Not because he lacked faith, but because he was human, and humans have limits. I want you to hear this. You're not weak because you're struggling after the victory. You're not failing because you're exhausted after making it through. You're not less spiritual because you fell apart when things finally calmed down. You're human. And humans run on finite resources. And when those resources are depleted, you need rest. Simple as that. God understood this about Elijah. That's why he didn't give him a pep talk. Didn't remind him of the fire from heaven. Didn't say, "Come on, you just saw me do an amazing miracle. Where's your faith?" No. God said, "You need to eat. You need to sleep. Your body is depleted, so let's take care of your body first." There's such wisdom in that. Such practical wisdom. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is take care of your physical needs. Eat, sleep, rest, drink water, take a walk, sit in the sun. These aren't less important than prayer or Bible reading or ministry. These are foundational. You can't function spiritually when your body is breaking down. You can't hear God clearly when you're running on empty. You can't make good decisions when you're exhausted. So God sent an angel with food, not just any food. Bread baked on hot coals, fresh, warm, nourishing. The kind of food that sustains, that strengthens, that satisfies. And water, clean, cool, refreshing. Basic provisions, but exactly what was needed. And I'm doing the same for you. I'm providing what you need. Maybe not literal bread and water right now, though those are good too. But provision, care, warmth, safety. This cottage, this fire, this rest. These are my gifts to you, my practical care for your depleted body and soul. And notice, the angel didn't just leave the food there and disappear. The angel touched Elijah. Physical touch, gentle, caring. Get up and eat, not harsh, not demanding, tender, compassionate. The touch said, "You're not alone. Someone cares. Someone sees you. Someone is here to help." That's what I'm doing too. I'm touching you. Not physically maybe, but spiritually, emotionally, letting you know you're not alone in this wilderness, not abandoned under this broom tree, not forgotten in your exhaustion. I'm here. I see you. I care. And I'm helping. After Elijah ate and drank the first time, he went back to sleep, and God let him. The angel didn't shake him awake, saying, "No, that's enough sleep. Time to get moving." No. God let him sleep as long as he needed, because God knew 1 meal, 1 nap, that wasn't going to undo 3.5 years of strain. Recovery takes time. And then the angel came back. "Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you." That phrase, the journey is too much for you. Not, you're not strong enough. Not you're failing. Not you should be able to handle this. Just an honest acknowledgement. This is hard. This is more than you can handle alone. This is legitimately too much. How often do you need to hear that? How often do you need someone to just acknowledge that what you're facing is genuinely difficult, that it's not all in your head, that you're not overreacting or being dramatic, that this really is hard and it makes sense that you're struggling? I'm saying it to you now. What you're facing is hard. What you've been carrying is heavy. What you've been trying to do is too much. Not because you're weak, not because you're failing, but because it's objectively too much for one person. And acknowledging that isn't giving up, it's being honest. And honesty is the first step toward healing. The angel said this just before Elijah's 40-day journey. 40 days. That's significant. It's the same amount of time Moses spent on Mount Sinai receiving the law, the same amount of time I spent in the wilderness being tempted. 40 days represents a complete period of testing, of preparation, of transformation. And Elijah, strengthened by that food and rest, was able to make that journey. 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, walking through the wilderness. No more running in fear, no more collapsing in despair, but purposeful travel toward an encounter with God. That's what proper rest does. It doesn't just help you survive, it prepares you for what's next. And what was next for Elijah? An encounter with God in a gentle whisper, not in power displays, not in wind or earthquake or fire, but in quiet, in gentleness, in intimacy. God spoke to his exhausted prophet tenderly, listened to his complaints, heard his fears, addressed his loneliness, gave him new direction, but that could only happen after rest, after food, after sleep, after physical restoration. You can't have spiritual clarity when your body is breaking down. You can't hear the gentle whisper when you're in survival mode. You can't receive new direction when you're too depleted to think straight. So the rest comes first. Always. It's not optional. It's not a luxury. It's necessary, essential, the foundation for everything else. And God, in his wisdom, knew that, knows that, which is why he's insisting on it for you right now, just like he did for Elijah. You know what else God told Elijah after he rested? That there were 7,000 others who hadn't bowed to Baal. 7,000. All this time Elijah thought he was alone, the only one, the last faithful person left. But he wasn't. There were thousands of others. He just couldn't see them because he was so focused on his own struggle, so isolated in his exhaustion. Exhaustion distorts your perception, makes you feel more alone than you are, makes problems seem bigger than they are, makes solutions seem more impossible than they are, makes the future seem darker than it is. You can't trust your perspective when you're this depleted. You need rest first, and then clarity comes. And I'm going to show you, just like I showed Elijah, that you're not as alone as you feel. There are others who struggle like you do, others who get exhausted like you do, others who understand. You just can't see them right now, but they're there. And when you're rested, you'll find them, or they'll find you. And you'll realize you were never as isolated as you thought. God also told Elijah to anoint Elisha as his successor. Not immediately, not "you're done, you're being replaced," but "you're going to have help, someone to train, someone to share the load with, someone who will eventually take over so you don't have to carry this forever." That must have been such a relief, to know it wouldn't all be on his shoulders forever, to know help was coming. And I'm telling you the same thing. You don't have to carry this forever. You don't have to do it all alone permanently. Help is coming. Maybe in the form of people I'm bringing into your life. Maybe in the form of circumstances changing. Maybe in the form of you learning to set boundaries and say no. But the current weight you're carrying, it's not forever. Things can change. Things will change. But first, rest. First, let yourself be cared for. First, eat and drink and sleep. First, receive the angel's touch. First, hear my voice saying, "The journey is too much for you, and that's okay. Rest now, be strengthened, and then we'll talk about what comes next." The rain outside is still steady, the fire inside is still warm, and you're still here. Still being held by this moment, still being tended by my care, still learning what it means to be loved in your exhaustion, to be cared for in your depletion, to be met with tenderness instead of demands. Elijah's story encourages me, not because he was superhuman, but because he was so human. He got scared, he ran, he collapsed, he wanted to give up, he felt alone, he couldn't see clearly. He needed food and sleep and multiple rounds of rest. He needed God to speak gently to him. He needed new perspective. He needed help. And God gave him all of that, every single thing he needed, not begrudgingly, not with disappointment, but with tender care, practical provision, gentle whispers, new direction, companionship, everything. And if God did that for Elijah, he'll do it for you. He is doing it for you, right now, in this cottage, by this fire, through this rest. You're receiving what you need, not all at once, not instantly, but progressively, like Elijah. First food, then sleep, then more food, then more sleep, then a journey, then an encounter, then clarity, then direction, then help. It's a process. Recovery is a process. Restoration is a process. You can't rush it. You can't skip steps. You have to let it unfold. Let it happen. Trust the timing. Trust the care. Trust that the God who fed Elijah under the broom tree is feeding you in this cottage. The God who let Elijah sleep is letting you rest. The God who spoke in a gentle whisper to Elijah will speak to you too. But not until you're ready. Not until you're rested. Not until you're strong enough to hear and receive and respond. So for now, just rest. Just receive. Just let yourself be cared for. The whisper will come. The clarity will come. The direction will come. The help will come. But first, rest. You've had enough. I know, I hear you. And my response is the same as it was to Elijah. Food, rest, time, care, gentleness. No rebuke, no disappointment, no demands. Just provision, just presence, just love. Welcome to the broom tree. Welcome to the wilderness. Welcome to the place where exhausted prophets meet the God who responds with tenderness. You're going to make it. Not because you're strong enough, but because I'm caring for you. Just like I cared for Elijah. Just like I care for all my exhausted children. Rest now, beloved. Rest. Let me tell you about another time. Another person who was exhausted from running. His name was David. Not yet a king. Just a young man running for his life from a king who wanted him dead. King Saul. The man who should have been protecting him was hunting him instead. David had done nothing wrong. He'd served Saul faithfully, played music to soothe Saul's troubled spirit, fought Saul's battles, killed Goliath, led armies to victory, been a loyal subject, a faithful servant, a good man. And Saul hated him for it. Hated him because the people loved David more. hated him because God's favor was on David, hated him because David represented everything Saul knew he wasn't. So David ran, for years, living in caves, hiding in the wilderness, moving from place to place, never able to settle, never able to rest easy, always looking over his shoulder, always wondering if this would be the day Saul finally caught him, always exhausted, from the running, the hiding, the fear. And there's this psalm David wrote during that time, Psalm 3. It starts like this: Lord, how many are my foes? How many rise up against me? Many are saying of me, God will not deliver him. That's exhaustion talking. That's what it feels like when you've been running too long. Everyone seems like an enemy. Everyone seems to be against you. And you start to wonder if even God is going to come through. But then David says this: But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high. I call out to the Lord, and he answers me from his holy mountain. I lie down and sleep. I wake again, because the Lord sustains me. I lie down and sleep. In the middle of being hunted, in the middle of danger, in the middle of exhaustion and fear and uncertainty, David was able to sleep. Not because the danger went away, not because Saul stopped hunting him, but because God sustained him. That's supernatural. That's miraculous. That a man with enemies all around, with a king hunting him, with no safe place to truly rest, could lie down and sleep and wake again. That's God's provision, God's protection, God's sustaining power making rest possible, even when circumstances say rest should be impossible. And that's what I'm doing for you right now. Your circumstances haven't changed. Your problems are still real. The things that exhausted you are still out there. But I'm creating this space where you can rest anyway, where you can lie down and sleep, where you can wake again, sustained by me, not because everything's fixed, but because I'm here, because I'm your shield, because I lift your head, because I answer when you call. David understood something profound. He understood that rest isn't about circumstances being perfect. Rest is about trust. It's about knowing that even when you're surrounded by enemies, even when you're being hunted, even when everything is uncertain and dangerous, God is still God. Still protecting, still providing, still sustaining. And that knowing allows you to rest, even when it doesn't make sense to rest. That's faith, not the faith that makes everything easy, but the faith that lets you sleep in the middle of the storm, that lets you rest even when you're surrounded by danger, that lets you trust God's sustaining power enough to actually let go and close your eyes and be vulnerable in sleep. And I'm asking you to have that same faith right now, to trust that even though your problems haven't disappeared, even though your circumstances are still challenging, even though you have legitimate reasons to be anxious, you can rest, because I'm sustaining you, because I'm your shield, because I'm here. David wrote another psalm during that time, Psalm 4. Answer me when I call to you, my righteous God. Give me relief from my distress. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. Relief from distress. That's what he was asking for. Not removal of the danger, not immediate victory, just relief, just rest, just a break from the constant stress. And then he says, In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. In peace, not in perfect circumstances, not in complete security, not when everything is resolved, but in peace, because God alone makes him dwell in safety. You alone, Lord, not the circumstances being safe, not the enemies being gone, not the problems being solved. You alone. God's presence is what creates safety. God's sustaining power is what makes rest possible. Not the absence of danger, but the presence of God. And that's what's happening here in this cottage. The rain outside represents everything you're running from, everything that's been chasing you, everything that's exhausted you. And you're in here, safe, warm, able to rest. Not because those things have disappeared, but because I'm here, making you dwell in safety, creating peace, sustaining you. David eventually became king. The running ended. Saul died. David took the throne. But he never forgot those years of running, those years of exhaustion, those years of learning to rest in God's sustaining power even when circumstances said rest was impossible. And those lessons shaped him into the king he became, the man after God's own heart. Your exhaustion right now isn't wasted. This season of running, of struggling, of being depleted, it's teaching you something. It's teaching you that you can't do it on your own, that you need God. That rest comes from trust, not from circumstances, that God's sustaining power is real, is sufficient, is everything you need. Now let me tell you about Peter. Different situation, different kind of exhaustion, not physical running, but the exhaustion of failure, of shame, of having let me down in the worst possible way. You know the story. Peter, my disciple, my friend, the one who swore he'd never deny me. Even if everyone else abandons you, I never will, he said. So confident, so sure of himself, so certain of his loyalty and strength. And then the night I was arrested, when I needed him most, he denied me. 3 times, just like I said he would. I don't know him, he told the people around the fire. I've never met him. 3 times. Each denial cutting deeper. Each lie separating him further from the truth of who he was, who he wanted to be. And then the rooster crowed, just like I said it would. And Peter remembered my words, and he ran out and wept bitterly. The exhaustion of failure, the weight of knowing you've become exactly what you swore you'd never be, the crushing realization that you're not as strong as you thought, not as faithful as you promised, not as loyal as you wanted to be. That's a different kind of exhaustion, but it's just as depleting, maybe more so, because you can't run from yourself. You can't escape your own failure. You carry it with you everywhere. It haunts you, accuses you, reminds you that you're not who you thought you were. After I rose from the dead, Peter went back to fishing. Back to what he knew before he met me. Back to the familiar. Back to something he could control. Something he was good at. Something that didn't require him to think about his failure or his shame, or the fact that he denied the Messiah, the Son of God, his friend. He fished all night, caught nothing, exhausted and empty-handed, failing even at the thing he was supposed to be good at. And then, at dawn, there I was on the beach, calling to them, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat." And they did, and the net filled with fish, so many fish they couldn't haul it in. And John said, "It's the Lord." And Peter, impulsive Peter, threw himself into the water and swam to shore, not waiting for the boat, not caring about the fish, just desperate to get to me, despite his shame, despite his failure, despite everything. He came. And when he got to the beach, what did he find? Me cooking breakfast, fish on a charcoal fire, bread, the smell of food, the warmth of the fire, just like the charcoal fire where he denied me, the same setting, but this time, everything was different. I didn't confront him immediately. I didn't demand an explanation. I didn't lecture him about his failure. I said, "Come and have breakfast. That's it. Come and eat. You're exhausted. You've been fishing all night. You've been carrying shame and guilt for days. Come, eat. Let me serve you. I cooked for him, me, the risen Lord, the one he'd denied. I cooked breakfast for the one who'd failed me. And I served him, gave him food, took care of his physical need first before addressing anything else. Because I knew he was exhausted. I knew he was depleted. I knew he needed to be cared for before we could talk about anything else. That's how I am. That's who I am. I don't wait for you to get it all together before I care for you. I don't require you to earn my love through perfect performance. I don't withhold provision until you've proven yourself worthy. I meet you where you are, exhausted, failed, ashamed, empty-handed. And I say, come, eat. Let me take care of you. None of the disciples dared ask, who are you? They knew it was me. But there must have been this tension, this wonder, this disbelief that the risen Lord would be cooking breakfast for them, serving them, meeting their basic need for food after a long, fruitless night. And after breakfast, then I talked to Peter. Do you love me? 3 times I asked, once for each denial, giving him a chance to affirm his love where he denied his knowledge, restoring what was broken, healing what was wounded, not by ignoring the failure, but by addressing it gently, redemptively, in the context of a meal shared, of care given, of relationship maintained. Feed my sheep, I told him. Take care of my flock. I gave him his purpose back, his calling, his mission. Not, you failed so you're done, but you failed and you're still mine and there's still work for you to do. Restoration, not rejection. But notice the order. First breakfast, first care, first physical provision, then conversation, then restoration, then purpose. You can't restore someone who's still depleted. You can't speak purpose into someone who hasn't eaten. You can't address failure with someone who's too exhausted to receive grace. So I fed Peter first, just like the angel fed Elijah, just like I'm feeding you now. Not literal fish and bread, though those are good, but care, warmth, safety, rest, provision for your depleted body and soul, because you can't receive what I want to tell you if you're too exhausted to hear it. And what I want to tell you is the same thing I told Peter. You're still mine. Your failure doesn't disqualify you. Your exhaustion doesn't mean you're done. Your weakness doesn't cancel your calling. I'm still here, still with you, still wanting to restore you, still having purpose for you, still loving you. But first, eat. First, rest. First, let me serve you. First, sit by this fire and let yourself be cared for. The conversation can come later. The restoration can unfold gradually. The purpose will become clear in time. But right now, just receive, just eat, just rest. Peter went on to be a pillar of the early church, a bold preacher, a leader, a martyr for the faith. But that morning on the beach, he was just a failed disciple who needed breakfast. And I met him there, at his point of need, at his moment of depletion, at his place of shame. And I gave him exactly what he needed: food, presence, grace. That's what I'm doing for you. You're not just physically exhausted, you're carrying things, failures, regrets, shame, things you wish you'd done differently, ways you've let people down, ways you've let yourself down, ways you've let me down. And you're tired, so tired, not just from the doing, but from the carrying. And I'm saying the same thing to you that I said to Peter. Come, sit, eat, let me serve you. We'll talk about the rest later. Right now, you just need to be cared for. You just need to receive. You just need to know that you're still mine, still loved, still wanted, despite everything. The fire in this cottage is like that charcoal fire on the beach. Same warmth, same provision, same invitation. But instead of the place of denial, it's the place of restoration. Instead of the setting of failure, it's the setting of grace. Same fire, different meaning. Because I'm here, and when I'm present, everything changes. David learned to rest in God's sustaining power while running from Saul. Peter learned that failure doesn't mean the end while eating breakfast on the beach. And you're learning right here, right now, that exhaustion and failure and weakness don't disqualify you from my love. Don't separate you from my care. Don't put you beyond my reach. I'm still here, still cooking breakfast, still sustaining you through the night. still making rest possible even when circumstances say it shouldn't be, still lifting your head when shame would bow it down, still calling you mine when you feel most unworthy. Listen to the rain, steady, patient, unrelenting in its gentleness. That's my love for you, not dependent on your performance, not contingent on your strength, not earned by your worthiness, just falling, constantly, gently, nourishing you whether you feel you deserve it or not. You're sitting by the fire like Peter sat by the fire on the beach. You're resting like David rested, while Saul hunted him. You're receiving care, like Elijah received care under the broom tree. You're learning what they learned, that God meets you in your exhaustion, that God cares for you in your failure, that God sustains you through the running, that God restores you after the denial. And tomorrow or next week or whenever you're ready, there will be conversations about purpose, about calling, about feed my sheep, about going forward, about what comes next. But not tonight. Tonight is just for rest, just for receiving, just for being held and fed and sustained and loved. Come and have breakfast, come and rest, come and let me serve you. You're exhausted, you've been running, you've been failing, you've been trying so hard, and I'm here with food and warmth and grace, with sustaining power and lifted heads and restored hearts, with love that doesn't quit even when you do. Welcome to the beach, welcome to the fire, welcome to the place where the risen Lord cooks breakfast for failed disciples, where the sustaining God grants sleep to those being hunted, where everything is turned around not by your strength but by my presence. Rest now, eat now, be sustained now. I've got you, and I'm not letting go. You know what amazes me about David's story? He didn't just survive those years of running, he thrived spiritually. Some of his most beautiful psalms were written in caves while hiding from Saul. Some of his deepest insights into God's character came during his deepest distress. Because exhaustion, when you bring it to God, can become a teacher, a refiner, a doorway to deeper faith. David could have become bitter, could have become angry at God. Why are you letting this happen to me? I killed Goliath for you. I served faithfully. Why am I the one hiding in caves while Saul sits on the throne? But he didn't. Instead, he wrote, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" That's not denial. That's not toxic positivity. That's hard-won faith. Faith forged in the fire of exhaustion and danger. Faith that learned night after night of running that God really does sustain, really does protect, really does provide rest even in the most unlikely circumstances. And there were so many nights, so many caves, so many close calls. There was the time Saul came into the very cave where David was hiding. David could have killed him. His men urged him to. God has delivered your enemy into your hands. But David wouldn't do it. He cut off a corner of Saul's robe to prove he'd been close enough, but he wouldn't harm God's anointed. That takes such restraint, such trust. When you're exhausted from running, when you're tired of being hunted, when you have the chance to end it all, to finally be safe, to finally rest easy, and you don't take it because it's not God's way. That's spiritual maturity born from exhaustion. That's wisdom learned through weariness. David understood something crucial, that taking matters into his own hands, even when he had the opportunity, even when it seemed justified, would cost him his peace, would cost him his ability to sleep, would cost him the very rest he was seeking. Because rest doesn't come from controlling circumstances. Rest comes from trusting God with circumstances. And so, night after night, in cave after cave, David lay down and slept. Not because he'd figured it all out, not because he'd eliminated the danger, but because he trusted. And that trust allowed rest. That faith created peace. That relationship with God sustained him through years of what should have been unsustainable. I want you to learn what David learned. That rest is possible even when your circumstances say it's not. That sleep can come even when danger surrounds you. That peace exists even in the midst of chaos. Not because you've controlled everything, not because you've fixed everything, but because you've trusted me with everything. And here's something beautiful. When David finally became king, when the running was over, when he finally had safety and security and a palace to sleep in, he still remembered those caves, still remembered those nights of supernatural rest, still remembered what it was like to be sustained by God alone. And it kept him humble, kept him dependent, kept him aware that everything he had came from God, not from his own strength or cleverness or power. Your exhaustion now is teaching you that same lesson. You're learning that you can't sustain yourself, can't protect yourself, can't create your own rest. You need me. And that's not a bad lesson to learn. That's the best lesson, the most important lesson, the one that will serve you for the rest of your life. Now back to Peter. There's so much more to his story. Those 3 denials weren't just casual lies. They were the shattering of his self-image. Peter saw himself as the strong one, the leader, the one who would stand when others fell. The rock. That's what his name meant. Rock. Solid, dependable, strong. And in one night, he discovered he wasn't a rock. He was sand, shifting, unstable, unreliable. One servant girl's question, and he crumbled. One accusation, and he denied. One moment of fear, and everything he thought he was dissolved. That kind of self-discovery is exhausting. It's devastating. When you realize you're not who you thought you were. When you fail in the exact way you swore you never would. When your actions contradict everything you believe about yourself. It's not just tiring. It's identity shattering. And Peter carried that for days, through my crucifixion, through my death, through my burial, knowing that when I needed him most, he'd denied even knowing me. The weight of that, the shame of it, the exhaustion of carrying that failure around, it's crushing. Even when he heard I'd risen, even when he ran to the tomb and found it empty, even when he knew I was alive, he still carried the failure. Because resurrection doesn't automatically mean restoration. New life doesn't automatically heal old wounds. The risen Lord doesn't automatically mean a restored relationship. So Peter went back to fishing, back to what he knew before me, before the calling, before the walking on water, and the miraculous catches and the "you are the Christ" confession. Back to the simple, uncomplicated work of catching fish, or trying to. Because that night, he couldn't even do that right. Couldn't catch anything. Failed at the one thing he was supposed to be good at. And that's often how it is when you're carrying shame and exhaustion. Nothing works right. Even the things that used to be easy become hard. Even your strengths feel like weaknesses. Even your gifts feel unavailable. Because shame is heavy, and exhaustion compounds everything. So when I appeared on the beach, when I called out to them, when the nets filled with fish, it must have felt like a taunt. Like, see? You can't even catch fish without me. You can't do anything without me. You're useless. But that's not what I was saying. I was saying, I'm still here, still providing, still blessing, still working in your life. Your failure didn't end our relationship. And that miraculous catch mirrored the first miraculous catch, years earlier, when I first called Peter, when his nets filled just like this, and I said, "Come, follow me. I'll make you a fisher of men." Full circle, back to the beginning. A chance to start over. A reminder that I chose him once and I was choosing him again. But Peter didn't know that yet. He just knew it was me, and he threw himself into the water. Couldn't wait for the boat, had to get to me, despite everything, despite the shame, despite the failure, despite not knowing what I would say or do. He came, And that's faith. That's love. That's the beginning of restoration. And there I was, on the beach, cooking breakfast, not waiting with arms crossed, not preparing a lecture, not ready to condemn, just cooking, taking care of the practical need, the physical hunger, the exhaustion from a long night of fruitless work, just being there, present, providing, like always. The charcoal fire was intentional, you know, the same kind of fire where Peter denied me. I could have cooked over any kind of fire, or no fire at all. I'd just risen from the dead. I could have provided breakfast miraculously, but I chose a charcoal fire, the same setting, the same smell, the same visual, bringing him back to the scene of his failure. Not to shame him, but to redeem it. Because that's what I do. I redeem. I take the places of your deepest failure and I meet you there with grace. I take the settings of your worst moments and I transform them into places of restoration. The charcoal fire stops being the place of denial and becomes the place of affirmation. The place of shame becomes the place of love. The site of failure becomes the site of recommissioning. Come and have breakfast, I said, and we ate together, me and my disciples, me and Peter, like old times, like always, like nothing had changed, because in the ways that mattered most, nothing had. I still loved them, still wanted to be with them, still had purpose for them. The resurrection didn't just restore my life, it restored our relationship. And after breakfast, the conversation. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Using his old name, his given name, before I called him Peter, before the rock identity. Starting over, starting fresh. And he answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. More humble now, less confident, no more, even if everyone else denies you, I never will. Just simple affirmation. You know that I love you. And I said, feed my lambs, giving him work, giving him purpose, trusting him with my sheep. Not, you failed so you're fired, but you failed and you're forgiven and there's still work to do, and I'm trusting you to do it. 3 times I asked, 3 times he answered, 3 times I commissioned him. Once for each denial, each affirmation replacing a denial, each yes, Lord, overwriting an I don't know him, each commission restoring what shame had stolen. That's redemption. That's restoration. That's how I work. But it could only happen after breakfast, after the physical need was met, after the exhaustion was addressed, after the care was given. You can't restore someone who's still depleted. The soul work requires the body to be tended first. And that's what's happening here. In this cottage, by this fire, you're being tended. Your physical and emotional exhaustion is being addressed. You're being given the care you need so that later, the deeper work of restoration can happen. So that the conversations about purpose and calling and moving forward can be productive. So that you can actually receive what I want to give you. Both David and Peter learned the same lesson from different circumstances. David learned it while running from Saul. Peter learned it while facing his failure. But the lesson was the same. God meets you in your exhaustion. God sustains you in your weakness. God restores you in your failure. God's love doesn't depend on your strength or your performance or your perfection. David didn't have to win the battle with Saul to be loved by God. He just had to trust. Peter didn't have to undo his denial to be loved by me. He just had to come when called. And you don't have to fix everything or be strong or have it all together to be loved right now. You just have to be here. Just have to receive. Just have to let yourself be cared for. The rain continues its steady work outside. The fire continues its steady warmth inside. And you're here, held between the two, protected from the storm, warmed by the fire, sustained by my presence, learning what David learned, learning what Peter learned, that God is faithful even when you're not, that God sustains even when you can't sustain yourself, that God restores even when you failed. Tomorrow, or next week, or next month, you'll get up from this rest and go on. Just like David eventually became king. Just like Peter eventually fed my sheep. Just like Elijah eventually completed his journey. But different. Changed. Not by the exhaustion itself, but by what you learned in the exhaustion. Not by the failure, but by the restoration that followed the failure. You'll go on, knowing that rest is possible even in chaos. That God sustains, even in danger. That failure isn't final. That shame doesn't have the last word. That exhaustion can be a teacher. That weakness can be a doorway to deeper faith. That you really, truly, actually need God. Not just theoretically, not just theologically, but practically, daily, desperately. And that knowledge will serve you well, will keep you humble, will keep you dependent, will keep you close to me, will keep you aware that everything you have, everything you are, everything you accomplish comes from me, not from your own strength. But that's for later. For now, just rest. Just receive. Just let David's experience encourage you that sleep is possible, even when hunted. Just let Peter's experience assure you that failure doesn't disqualify you from my love. Just let both of their stories remind you that God meets people in their exhaustion and their failure with tenderness, with provision, with sustaining power, with grace. You're not alone in this. David's been here. Peter's been here. Elijah's been here. Countless others have been exactly where you are. Exhausted, depleted, failed, ashamed, running, hiding, unable to keep going. And they all found the same thing you're finding right now, that God is there, present, caring, sustaining, restoring, loving. Welcome to the cave where David slept while Saul hunted him. Welcome to the beach where I cooked breakfast for Peter after his denial. Welcome to the company of the exhausted and failed who found God faithful. Welcome to rest that's possible even when circumstances say it's not. Welcome to love that doesn't quit even when you do. I'm still here, still cooking breakfast, still granting sleep, still sustaining, still restoring, still loving, and I'm not going anywhere. You're mine, exhausted, failed, weak, and all. And that's enough for me, more than enough. Rest now, beloved. Let yourself be sustained. Let yourself be restored. I've got you, and I'm not letting go. We've been here for a while now, haven't we? You and me, by this fire, listening to the rain. And I can see something changing in you. Your shoulders aren't quite so tight anymore. Your breathing has slowed. Your body is starting to believe what your mind is still learning. That you're safe. That you can rest. That I'm here. Look at the fire now. It's different than when you first came in. Remember how it was crackling and popping? How the flames were dancing high? Now it's settled into these glowing embers. Deep red. Warm. Steady. Not flashy anymore. Just consistent heat. Reliable warmth. That's what's happening inside you too. The frantic energy is burning down. The anxious alertness is fading. You're settling, like these embers, into something deeper, something steadier, something that can last through the night. The rain is softer now too. Or maybe you're just hearing it differently. Earlier it might have sounded loud, insistent, maybe even a little threatening. But now it's a lullaby. Each drop a gentle note, each gust of wind a soft melody. The storm isn't gone, the rain is still falling, but it's not frightening anymore. It's peaceful, soothing, the sound of being protected, the sound of being inside while the world does its work outside. I want you to know something. You don't have to stay awake anymore. You've been so vigilant for so long, so alert, so ready, always watching for the next problem, always preparing for the next crisis, always on guard. But you don't have to be tonight. I'm watching. I'm on guard. I'm alert. You can sleep. Do you remember the story of me sleeping in the boat? My disciples were rowing across the lake. A storm came up, waves crashing over the sides, wind howling, water filling the boat, and they were terrified, certain they were going to drown. And where was I? Asleep, in the back of the boat, on a cushion, sleeping peacefully while the storm raged. They woke me up. "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" they shouted, and I got up, stood in the boat, and I spoke to the wind and the waves. "Peace, be still." And everything calmed. The wind stopped, the waves settled, immediate peace. But here's what I want you to understand. I could sleep in that storm because I knew my Father. I knew He was watching. I knew He was in control. I knew that even if the waves were crashing, even if the storm was raging, even if the disciples were panicking, everything was going to be okay. So I slept, deeply, peacefully, completely. And I'm inviting you into that same rest, not because the storms are gone. The rain is still falling outside this cottage. Your problems are still real. Your circumstances are still challenging. But I'm here. And when I'm here, you can rest. Just like I rested in that boat. Not because there was no storm, but because I trusted the Father. And you can trust me. I never sleep, you know. Not anymore. Not in this resurrected body. I don't need to. I'm always awake, always watching, always aware, always present. And that means you can sleep. You can rest. You can close your eyes and let go and drift off. Because I'm keeping watch. I'm on duty. You're covered. Think about the disciples that night in Gethsemane. I took Peter and James and John with me into the garden, and I asked them to keep watch while I prayed. "Stay here and keep watch with me," I said. And then I went a little further and I prayed. I agonized. I sweat drops of blood. I wrestled with what was coming. And when I came back to them, they were sleeping. I could have been angry. I could have been disappointed. "Couldn't you watch with me for 1 hour?" I said, and I woke them up. But then I went to pray again. And when I came back, they were sleeping again. 3 times this happened. 3 times they fell asleep when I asked them to watch. But you know what? I understand. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. They wanted to stay awake. They wanted to support me. But they were exhausted. It had been a long day, an intense week, and their bodies just gave out. They couldn't help it. They fell asleep, and I didn't hold it against them. I understood. I understand. Because I was human too. I know what it's like when your body just can't anymore. When sleep takes you even when you want to stay awake. When exhaustion wins no matter how much you will yourself to keep going. But here's the difference. You're not in Gethsemane. You're not supposed to be keeping watch. That's my job. I'm the one who stays awake. I'm the one who watches. I'm the one who never sleeps. You're the one who gets to rest. You're the one who's supposed to sleep. You're the one I'm watching over. So if your eyes are getting heavy, that's good. If you're finding it hard to focus, that's okay. If you're drifting, that's exactly what should be happening. Because this is the time for sleep. This is the place for rest. This is the moment when you finally get to let go. The cottage is so warm now. Can you feel it? The heat from the fire has soaked into everything. The stone walls, the wooden beams, the air itself. It's all holding warmth, holding comfort, holding you, like being wrapped in a blanket, like being held, like being home. And outside, the rain continues. But it's not a threat. It's a blessing. It's watering the earth, soaking into the ground, bringing life, bringing growth, bringing renewal. And you're in here, dry, warm, safe, protected from the rain, but blessed by it, hearing it, but not touched by it, present to it, but not harmed by it. That's how it is with your troubles too. They're real, they're there, they're falling like rain. But in here, with me, you're protected, you're safe, you're held. They can't reach you right now. They can't touch you in this moment. They can't harm you in this space, because I'm here. And where I am, there is safety. Where I am, there is peace. Where I am, there is rest. Let your eyes close if they want to. Don't fight it. Don't force yourself to stay awake. There's nothing you need to see right now. Nothing you need to watch for. Nothing you need to be alert to. I'm seeing everything. I'm watching for you. I'm alert so you don't have to be. Your body knows what it needs. It's been telling you for so long. I need rest. I need sleep. I need to stop. And you've been ignoring it, pushing through, telling yourself you can't afford to stop. But you can. You can afford it now, because I'm giving it to you. This time, this space, this permission, this rest. Feel the chair holding you. Feel the blanket around you. Feel the warmth on your skin. Feel the safety in your bones. Feel your body settling, releasing, relaxing, trusting that it's okay to not be on guard anymore, that it's safe to be vulnerable in sleep, that nothing bad will happen if you're not controlling everything. I'm in control. I've always been in control, and I'm good at it. Better than you are, if we're being honest. Not because you're not capable, but because I'm God and you're not. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. I carry what's too heavy for you. I watch while you sleep. I work while you rest. That's the design. That's the plan. That's grace. Do you hear how quiet it's become? Or maybe it's just that you're becoming quiet inside. The racing thoughts are slowing. The anxious what-ifs are fading. The worries about tomorrow are loosening their grip, because tomorrow isn't here yet. And when it comes, I'll be there, just like I'm here now, just like I was there yesterday, just like I'll be there every day after. I don't take days off. I don't sleep through your struggles. I'm always present, always watching, always caring. So tonight, this moment, this hour, you don't have to think about tomorrow. You don't have to solve anything. You don't have to figure anything out. You just have to be here. Just have to rest. Just have to let yourself drift into the sleep your body is begging for. I'm going to stay right here, by this fire, in this cottage, with you. I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. When you wake up, whether that's in an hour or in the morning, I'll still be here, still watching, still present, still loving you. Nothing changes while you sleep, except that your body gets the rest it desperately needs. The embers are glowing so beautifully now. Deep orange fading to red. Heat without flame. Light without brightness. Just enough. Just right. Just what's needed for this quiet moment. And they'll keep glowing. Keep giving warmth. Keep providing light. All night long. Steady. Reliable. Constant. Like my love for you. Not flashy. Not dramatic. Just always there. Always warm. Always enough. Let each breath out be a little longer than the last. Let each exhale carry away a little more tension. A little more worry. A little more of the weight you've been carrying. Breathe it out. Let it go. Give it to me. I'll take it. I'll hold it. I'll carry it while you rest. And breathe in peace. Breathe in rest. Breathe in my presence. Let it fill your lungs. Let it fill your body. Let it fill your mind. Let it fill all the spaces that were occupied by anxiety and fear and exhaustion. Let peace move in. Let rest take up residence. Let my presence settle into every part of you. You're so tired. I know. I can see it. And it's okay. It's okay to be this tired. It's okay to need this much rest. It's okay to have reached the end of yourself, because that's where I begin. That's where my strength shows up. That's where grace does its best work. In your weakness, in your exhaustion, in your complete inability to go one more step on your own. I'm not disappointed in you for being tired. I'm glad you finally stopped. Glad you finally came in out of the rain. Glad you finally let yourself be here with me, receiving what you need. This is good. This is right. This is exactly where you should be. The rain is slowing now. Or maybe you're just not hearing it as much. Your awareness is turning inward, turning toward rest, turning toward sleep. And that's good. That's what should be happening. The outside world is fading. The concerns are dimming. The constant vigilance is shutting down. And in its place, there's just this warmth, this safety, this peace, this moment. Nothing else matters right now. Nothing else requires your attention. Nothing else needs your energy. Everything else can wait, has to wait, will wait. Because this is your time, your space, your rest. And it's sacred. It's protected. It's guarded by me. I've got the door. I've got the windows. I've got the walls. I've got every entry point covered. Nothing unwanted can get in here. No fear, no anxiety, no worry, no danger. Nothing that would disturb your rest. Nothing that would interrupt your peace. Nothing that would steal your sleep. I'm keeping watch. I'm standing guard. You're safe. Let your muscles release, starting with your face. Let your forehead smooth. Let your jaw unclench. Let your eyes rest easy behind your eyelids. No need to see. No need to watch. No need to be alert. Just rest. Just peace. Just darkness and warmth and safety. And your neck. All that tension you carry there. Let it go. Let your head be heavy. Let the chair hold it. You don't have to hold yourself up. You don't have to be strong. You can just be. Just exist. Just rest. The chair is strong enough. I'm strong enough. You can let go. Your shoulders. Oh, your shoulders have carried so much. Let them drop. Let them relax. Let them release all the weight they've been bearing. I'm taking it. I'm lifting it off. You don't have to carry it anymore. Not tonight. Maybe not ever again in the same way. But definitely not tonight. Tonight you're free. Tonight you're released. Tonight the burden is mine. Down your arms. Feel them getting heavy. Feel them sinking into rest. Your hands uncurling. Your fingers relaxing. Nothing to hold on to. Nothing to grasp. Nothing to control. Just rest. Just release. Just letting everything be held by something bigger than you. By someone bigger than you. By me. Your chest. Your lungs. Each breath slower than the last. Each inhale bringing peace. Each exhale releasing tension. Rhythm. Gentle rhythm. The rhythm of rest. The rhythm of trust. The rhythm of sleep coming softly, quietly, inevitably. Your back against the chair. Feel how it's supporting you. You don't have to sit up straight. You don't have to be proper. You can slouch. You can slump. You can let yourself be held completely. Let the chair do the work. Let it hold your weight. Let it support you. Like I'm supporting you. Like I'm holding you. Like I'll always hold you. Down through your hips, your legs, your feet. Let everything relax. Everything release. Everything rest. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Every muscle, every fiber, every cell, all releasing, all resting, all trusting that it's okay to stop, to be still, to sleep. The fire is barely visible now, just glowing embers, just heat and light so gentle it's almost not there. But it is there, constant, faithful, enough, more than enough, keeping the cottage warm, keeping you safe, keeping the darkness from being dark. Just enough light to remind you you're not alone. Just enough warmth to keep you comfortable. Just enough presence to let you rest. I'm here. I'll say it again, because I want you to really hear it, really believe it, really rest in it. I'm here, with you, for you, watching over you, caring for you, loving you. And I'm not going anywhere. This isn't temporary. This isn't just for tonight. This is forever. I'm yours and you're mine, and nothing changes that. Nothing can separate you from my love. Nothing can remove you from my care. Nothing can steal you from my hand. So sleep, beloved. Sleep in that security. Sleep in that love. Sleep in that eternal, unshakable, unbreakable commitment I have to you. Sleep knowing you're held. Sleep knowing you're safe. Sleep knowing you're loved. Sleep knowing I'm watching. Sleep knowing everything is going to be okay. Because I'm here. Because I've got this. Because I've got you. The rain has become just a whisper now. The softest sound. The gentlest rhythm. And maybe you're not even hearing it anymore. Maybe you're drifting. Maybe you're fading. Maybe you're right on the edge of sleep. And that's perfect. That's exactly right. That's what this has all been for. To bring you here. To this moment. To this rest. To this peace. To this sleep. Let go. Just let go. Stop fighting. Stop trying. Stop holding on. Just let yourself fall into sleep like falling into my arms. Safe. Held. Loved. Nothing to fear. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to do. Just sleep. Just rest. Just peace. I'm watching over you. All through the night. Every moment. Every breath. Every dream. I'm here. I'm present. I'm aware. I'm caring. And in the morning, when you wake, I'll still be here. Still watching. Still loving. Still holding you in my heart. But that's tomorrow. Right now is for sleep. Deep sleep. Restful sleep. Healing sleep. The kind of sleep you haven't had in so long. The kind that actually restores. The kind that actually heals. The kind that actually renews. And you can have it. Right now. Right here. Because I'm giving it to you. Because you're safe. Because I'm watching. Sleep now. Close your eyes and sleep. Let the exhaustion finally win. Let the weariness finally have its way. Let your body finally get what it's been begging for. Sleep, deep, full, complete, restorative, healing, sleep. I'm here, I'm watching. You're safe, you're loved, you're held. Sleep now, my beloved. Sleep. I've got you. I've got everything. You can rest now. You can sleep now. You can finally let go and trust and rest and sleep. Sleep now. I'm watching over you. Sleep, rest, peace. You're home. You're safe. You're mine. Sleep now, beloved. Sleep. And as you drift, as you fade, as you let yourself fall into sleep, I want you to know what I'm doing. I'm not just sitting here, passively. I'm actively watching over you, guarding you, protecting you, caring for you in ways you can't even see or understand. I'm watching your breathing, making sure it stays steady, making sure you get the oxygen you need, making sure your body can do what it needs to do to heal and restore while you sleep. Each breath in, each breath out. I'm monitoring it all. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to control it. It's happening. And I'm overseeing it. I'm watching your heart. That tired heart that's been working so hard for so long. Beating, pumping, keeping you alive even when you've been running on empty. It needs this rest too. And as you sleep, as you truly rest, it can slow down. It can beat more gently. It can recover some of its strength. And I'm watching every beat, every rhythm, making sure you're okay, making sure you're healing. I'm watching your mind, those thoughts that have been racing for so long. They're slowing now, quieting now. As you drift toward sleep, they're losing their urgency, losing their power, fading into the background. And some of them won't come back. Some of them will be left behind in this rest, washed away, released, gone, and new thoughts will come. Better thoughts, healthier thoughts, truer thoughts, but not now. Now is just for rest, just for quiet, just for peace. I'm watching your dreams. Yes, even your dreams. I'm there too, in the unconscious places, in the deep places, in the places you can't control or curate or manage. I'm there, making sure that even in your sleep, you're held. Even in your dreams, you're safe. Even in your unconscious, you're loved. You might not remember. You might not even know. But it's true. I'm there. Always there. I'm watching the cottage too. The fire. The walls. The roof. Making sure the rain doesn't get in. Making sure the wind doesn't disturb you. Making sure the cold doesn't reach you. Making sure this space stays exactly what it needs to be. A sanctuary. A refuge. A place of perfect peace for as long as you need it. For as long as you're here. It's maintained. It's protected. It's kept just for you. I'm watching the morning too. It's coming. Eventually. The rain will stop. The sun will rise. A new day will dawn. But not yet. Not for hours. You have time. So much time. Time to sleep deeply. Time to rest fully. Time to be restored completely. And when morning comes, when you wake, I'll be there for that too. Present for the new day, just like I'm present for this night. Faithful in the light, just like I'm faithful in the darkness. But you don't have to think about morning. Morning will take care of itself. I'll take care of it. Right now is just for this. This moment. This rest. This sleep. This deep, healing, restorative sleep that your body and soul and spirit are crying out for. Every worry you've been carrying. I'm taking them, one by one, as you release them, as you let them go, as you drift deeper into sleep. Each worry floating away, each anxiety dissolving, each fear fading. And I'm catching them, holding them, taking them from you, so you don't have to carry them into your sleep, so they don't follow you into your dreams, so they don't disturb your rest. That thing you said that you wish you hadn't. I'm taking it, covering it with grace. That thing you didn't do that you feel guilty about. I'm taking that too, releasing you from the shame. That person you disappointed, that mistake you made, that failure you can't forget. I'm taking it, all of it, everything. So you can sleep free, so you can rest unburdened, so you can wake up tomorrow without all that weight. Because tomorrow is a new day, a fresh start, a blank page. And yes, some things will still be there. Some situations won't have magically resolved overnight, but you'll be different, rested, restored, stronger, better able to face whatever comes, better able to handle what needs handling, better able to trust me with what doesn't. But that's tomorrow. Tonight, there's just this warmth, this safety, this peace, this sleep. Let it take you. Let it have you. Let it carry you deep into rest, deeper than you've been in so long, deeper than you thought possible, deeper than you've allowed yourself to go. You're safe here. I'll say it as many times as you need to hear it. You're safe. Nothing can hurt you here. Nothing can reach you here. Nothing can disturb you here. This is sacred space, holy ground, a sanctuary carved out just for you, protected by me, maintained by my presence, kept by my love. And I'm not just watching to protect you from external things. I'm also watching to protect you from yourself, from the voice that would wake you up with guilt, from the thought that would intrude with shame, from the memory that would disturb with regret. I'm standing guard against all of it, internal and external. Nothing gets through. Nothing disturbs. Nothing steals this rest. Your body is doing its work now. Cells regenerating. Tissues healing. Systems rebalancing. All the things that can only happen in deep rest, in real sleep, in complete surrender. And it's beautiful. It's powerful. It's exactly what needs to happen. And I'm overseeing all of it, making sure your body has everything it needs, making sure the healing happens, making sure the restoration is complete. Your emotions are settling too, like sediment in a stirred-up glass of water. When you've been going and going and going, everything gets stirred up. Everything is murky. Everything is confused. But in rest, in stillness, In sleep, things settle. Clarity comes. Peace returns. Truth becomes visible. And you wake up able to see things you couldn't see before. Able to feel things you couldn't feel before. Able to be things you couldn't be before. Your spirit is being refreshed. That deep part of you that connects with me, that knows me, that loves me, it's been depleted too. Worn down by all the doing, all the trying, all the striving. But in this rest, it's being renewed, reconnected, restored. And when you wake, you'll feel it. Not dramatically, not obviously, but you'll know. Something has shifted, something has changed, something has been made new. The cottage is so still now, so quiet. Just the faintest sound of rain, just the softest glow of embers, just the gentlest warmth surrounding you. Everything is exactly as it should be. Everything is perfect for this moment, for this purpose, for this holy, sacred act of rest. And I'm here, present in the stillness, alive in the quiet, close in the darkness, not distant, not detached, not distracted, fully here, fully present, fully focused on you, on your rest, on your restoration, on your healing. This is what I do. This is who I am. The God who watches over his sleeping children, the Father who tends his weary ones, the Saviour who carries the exhausted home to rest. You matter to me, not for what you do, not for what you produce, not for how strong you are or how much you accomplish. You matter because you're mine, because I made you, because I love you, because I chose you, and that will never change. Your worth isn't tied to your productivity. Your value isn't based on your performance. You are precious to me simply because you are. And nothing you do or don't do can change that. So sleep without guilt. Rest without shame. Let go without fear. This isn't selfish. This isn't lazy. This isn't weak. This is necessary. This is wise. This is obedient. Because I told you to rest. I commanded rest. I built it into the rhythm of creation. 1 day in 7. Sabbath. Rest. Not as a suggestion, as a command. Because I knew you'd need it. Because I knew you couldn't sustain without it. Because I love you too much to let you destroy yourself. And this rest, this sleep, this moment is part of that. It's obedience. It's worship. It's trust. It's saying, I believe you when you say you'll watch over me. I believe you when you say you've got this. I believe you when you say I can rest. And that belief, that trust, that faith honors me, pleases me, makes me smile. Sleep, beloved. Sleep deeply. Sleep fully. Sleep completely. Let every defense down. Let every guard drop. Let every wall crumble. You don't need them here. You don't need protection from me. You don't need to hide anything. You don't need to manage my perception of you. I already know everything. I already see everything. I already love you completely, just as you are, exhausted and all. The night is deep now. The darkest part, the quietest part, the part where the world seems to hold its breath, where time seems to slow, where everything feels suspended. And you're suspended too, between waking and sleeping, between conscious and unconscious, between holding on and letting go. And I'm inviting you to let go, to surrender to sleep, to trust me enough to be completely vulnerable, because that's what sleep is. Vulnerability. You can't protect yourself while sleeping. You can't stay alert. You can't be ready. You have to trust that something else, someone else, will keep you safe. And I will. I am. I'm here. Watching. Guarding. Protecting. You're safe with me. Safer than you've ever been. Safer than you could ever be anywhere else. So let your body have its way. Let exhaustion win. Let sleep take you. Don't fight it anymore. Don't resist it. Don't try to stay awake. There's no reason to. No purpose in it. No value to it. Sleep is what you need. Sleep is what I'm giving you. Sleep is the gift. Receive it. Welcome it. Surrender to it. Every muscle loose now. Every breath slow. Every thought fading. Every worry gone. Every fear released. Every burden lifted. Just you. Just me. Just this moment. Just this rest. Just this peace. Just this love. Surrounding you. Holding you. Keeping you. Forever. I love you. I'll say it one more time before you slip completely into sleep. I love you. Not because of anything you've done. Not because of who you are. But because I am love. And you are mine. And that's enough. More than enough. Everything. Sleep now. Deep sleep. Full sleep. Healing sleep. Restorative sleep. The sleep of the beloved. The sleep of the secure. The sleep of the held. The sleep of the protected. The sleep of the watched over. My child. My beloved. My own. I'm here. I'm watching. You're safe. Sleep now. Sleep deeply. Sleep fully. Sleep peacefully. Sleep knowing you are loved beyond measure, treasured beyond words, held beyond all fear. The night is yours for resting. The cottage is yours for sheltering. The warmth is yours for comfort. The peace is yours for keeping. And I am yours, forever yours, always yours, your God, your Savior, your friend, your protector, your peace. Sleep now, beloved one. Sleep. I've got you. I've got everything. Rest now. Rest completely. Rest in me. Sleep. 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 I'm watching over you, now and always, tonight and tomorrow, this moment and forever. Sleep, my precious one. Sleep.